Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host Matt, and with me this week is our resident gaming journalist Eli.
How's it going, everyone?
Our pro gamer Mike.
I forgot how to do intros, man. So what's up, y'all?
It's okay, it's been a while. And our retro aficionado Unoclay.
All right, guys, here's a blast from the past. This is a real tape. This is about 30 seconds. This is from 1991. Listen up.
And we're on the air. Here we are, live kicking it with Clay. 1991, March 22nd, Sunday. My hobbies, I play video games all the time. Nintendo is the main thing now. Well, not the main thing, but it's major. Everyone has it. I have a Sega Genesis, Atari Lynx. I just sold my Nintendo Game Boy because it stinks. It was black and white. I have an Apple IIgs computer. It's almost obsolete already, but I want to get an IBM or Amiga. I'm not sure which. IBM will probably be around. I'm thinking about that, but I don't know how we get the money. I'm really into Genesis lately. It's one of the best video game systems there is available right now.
Yo, you're a fraud. I knew you were a Sega. Welcome to the Sonic Fan Club. Finally, Clay.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was like me. I found these old cassette tapes me and my friends were making back in the day. We were like recording each other just talking, and like a lot of it's just me just talking to the tape recorder by myself. That's one of the most least embarrassing parts of it, me admitting I liked Sega a lot.
Oh my god.
Dude, that was pretty great, though. I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed it. I did not expect that. I was like, yo, the way I pictured it was like you're around your house and you have like the quick tape recorder, like, quick idea. I just want to talk about this.
It literally was. It was just me in my bedroom doing that by myself. And then my friends, we talk about skateboarding and girls, and some of it's like not safe for work, like talk of like teenage boys. It's some amazing stuff, but that's the taste. Yeah, that's Game Boy stinks. Genesis is the new hot thing. That's the review. I'm out.
Nice. I wasn't even sure if it was a bit at first.
Guys,
I'm like, did you just fake this? Just say it.
Not just do we know that Clay here is a Sega stan, I have a theory that he has been paid all these years by Sega to sabotage Nintendo's fortunes.
I'm aware of it. Talking about good Sonic and that stuff. Yeah, check
He's
that
the
out.
mole in our podcast.
I knew it, dude. He's been the mole the whole time. I was like, why is Felix suddenly retired? And then Clay's like, oh, I'll take that question.
I don't think Mario could ever be president. It's definitely Sonic. Definitely.
Hey man, next month at this time, the Sonic movie will be 2 days released. We'll be getting its box office Sunday numbers. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Wait, it's coming out this week?
No, on Valentine's
sorry.
Day.
Sorry.
You uncultured
My
swine.
wife is going to be pumped. Oh boy.
Oh gosh.
Are you taking the wife? Taking the missus? I know you're a Genesis guy. So.
Wow, she would throw up at that idea. Hey, we're going to Sonic. I don't even like Sonic, but
Sure, the tape says otherwise.
Yeah, we have the tape. Okay.
You gave us the proof.
You're just saying the Genesis. Sonic is Sega. Okay, so
I probably didn't even have a Sonic game at that time, because if Genesis was just out, I probably only had Altered Beast, which is a cool game in the arcade in 1990. But then when you play it for like an hour and you beat it on your home console and you have nothing else to play, you suddenly hate your life, because it's like it's a flashy game that you can beat in like an hour if you have infinite continues, and you're just like done with it,
I'm very mad that you said Altered Beast, because during our vacation away from the podcast, I was setting up my does anyone use the emulator RetroArch?
Never heard of it.
Okay, it's a really, really good. It's a program that has like 1,000 emulators in it. So I'll go from like Atari all the way to whatever console with Z. And it uses like a PSP, PS3 type menu. It's really cool, really clean. So when I was setting it up, I was having a problem. And the guy who talked about it helped me fix it up. he goes, all right, I'm going to test it out with one of the greatest games ever, Altered Beast. I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to hear this game twice within a month. I've never heard it in my life.
I can't believe he thinks it's one of the greatest. I mean, it was super.
He sounds like you, Clay, so I was wondering if that was you when you said Altered Beast, by the way.
No. It's like, it was really flashy in its era, and it was very like progressive for its like, it was a cool idea at the time, but it is such a simplistic left to right walk. They call it belt scrolling, like walking left to right, fight everything, beat the boss, win. And it's like flashy, but no substance. Like, it's just a brawler basically, or sort of a brawler. I don't know. It's one of those games that tricked us back then, that we thought it was awesome. And then you had a home version of it and you're like, it looks great, but it's boring. Like,
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Enough about that. Matt.
Yeah.
I missed you guys. I was all like,
it's
playing
been
these
a while.
games. Yeah,
You had to talk to your family about games. It wasn't the same, I know.
no. Like, stop.
All right, so let's get on to some news.
News.
Yeah. Before this is going to be too late for anyone listening, but there's been a New Year's sale for like the past week or so, and it ends January 16th, which is today we're recording, so anyone listening is going to be too late. But for the rest of you, Unoclay, Eli, and Mike, you can buy something if you want before the day ends. I actually bought
there's some pretty solid deals. They were like usually eShop deals kind of suck. They're pretty competitive with like the prices on PlayStation and stuff. So
yeah, like
I saw Splatoon was on sale. I was like, it might be time, Matt. It might be time.
Yeah, well, all the first party games, well, I don't want to say all, but a lot were like 30% off. So Splatoon 2, Mario Kart, Yoshi, Kirby, other stuff. Mario and Rabbids
of course not Donkey Kong, because if they lower the price for Donkey Kong, they'll go bankrupt.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys saw that satire article where they're making fun of the fact that they never discount any of their games.
Oh my gosh.
No, I didn't see that. It sounds funny though. I do satire.
Yeah.
Greatest invention of last decade.
Yeah, the article is like, Nintendo holds 1 hour long board meeting to decide if they'll go bankrupt for selling Donkey Kong for $10 cheaper.
Oh my gosh.
Since you're mentioning sales, like I gotta naturally hype that Devolver has like an ongoing sale in the eShop that I don't think it expires today.
Okay.
So listeners might want to check that out, because Devolver has some of the best indie titles on the eShop, and there's some incredible discounts. I mean, there is no excuse for not having Downwell on your Switch now, because Downwell is like $1.50 on the sale, because it's like kind of a phone game, but it's super addictive. I played it for like 20 hours, and
wow.
$1.50. There's a lot of really good games in there, like just sick stuff. Hit me up on Twitter at Unoclay_Switch if you want any recommendations, because I have like more than half their catalog on my Switch now. So yeah, big fan.
Wow, nice.
Who isn't a fan of Devolver?
Yeah,
He jump
speaking of
ship, boys,
Devolver, they have dude, Devolver has a terrific Twitter account, because they tweeted in December that they said, quote, if we don't hit 2 million followers by Saturday, we're canceling all video games, even Cyberpunk. And today, Cyberpunk got
Oh my
delayed
gosh.
by, like 5 months or whatever.
Yeah.
And they tweeted, told you.
Like, they were
That's
that
amazing.
game.
Oh, dude, I was wondering why that popped up on my feed. I knew it was you who liked that. Well, when I used to have a feed. Never mind, though.
Let's not get to that.
I didn't realize that behind the Cyberpunk game, that's just more testament. I know everyone's been talking about that game, and I wasn't really paying attention to it. And I pretty much just think I've talked about them on the show endlessly, because discovered them because of Gungeon, of course. But I just like everything I play for them is just such quality. You're like, you can always trust that even if you download it and you're not sure, it might be pretty good, because they seem to just have a really like high standard for like what stuff they produce, like or they they get behind. So.
Yeah.
A low standard, though, for their E3 presentations.
Wait, that one last year was hilarious. No way.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's high. I mean, it was funny, but in terms of production value,
Oh, yeah. It was, but they were like the only one I've ever remembered more than a Nintendo one. Like, or it was really, really funny. Yeah. Like, anyway. Yeah, that sale's up too, and I'm not sure when it expires, but I don't think it's ending right this second. I just looked at it the other day and held back from buying like yet another game. I literally have 10-game backlog on my Switch downloaded of like games I haven't even turned on yet. So I've got to stop. It's just getting ridiculous. Yeah, it's turning up like Steam in here now.
Yeah.
So
I'm just gonna suggest quickly Mario and Rabbids, 75% off, it's $20, all the DLC. And actually, I bought the Striker Gunvolt series, the 1 and 2, because it's in a pack. And even at retail, I haven't seen it gone on sale since it's been on Switch. And now is the only time, and it's like 50% off. So I'm like, all right, I'm not going to play it now, but it hasn't gone on sale in for like a year or two or however long it's been out. So I guess I'll play it eventually.
Strikers Gunvolt, it's a lot like Mega Man. I played those on 3DS.
Yeah, I played a bit of it on 3DS. It was pretty good. So I'm like, I'll make good use of my SNES controller for this.
What's the price for Mario Rabbids at that discount?
It is $20, and that's with DLC. So
deal.
Yeah. Easily worth it.
I should tell a few people about that. I guess that's what we're doing right now. Hey everybody, we're telling you.
Well, by the time it goes live, it's too late. So it's really just the three of you, or the four of us.
Losers.
Well, that's because it would have been fine if we recorded before, but then Nintendo
we did it on Tuesday,
something.
but then Sakurai decided to delay our podcast.
Yeah, it's all his fault.
I just
anyway
space for another big game like that, but that's a good one for you guys. Like I'm not as much into that strategy type thing, but wow, $20 for a straight up Nintendo second party title. That's like crazy good deal.
Yeah, but it's Ubisoft, all right? They betrayed us. We should have had Rayman Legends first and only. All right, that's why Rayman's not in Smash.
Well, we'll see. But let's get into the news. So we'll start off with Pokemon first because I know Eli usually has to leave early, and let's start off the podcast nice. So a lot of people were suspecting a Nintendo Direct because usually they have one in January. The last several years they have. The only time they missed was like one other time. So everyone was expecting it at some point, wasn't sure when. And then they announced the Pokemon Direct, and then obviously the Smash Direct this week. So I'm sure there's going to be a regular one soon. But surprisingly, we got a Pokemon one first. And they've decided to show off that they're going to make DLC. And they positioned it as, rather than doing a third version like the other games, which is full price and, to be honest, not very much. They add like one new town or one new feature, and that's about it. This time it's going to be half the price, $30. It's going to be DLC, so you can continue with your save file rather than restart. It's going to have two different waves, a tropical island in June, and then in fall, like a frigid area. The tropical island will have like a training dojo and I guess kind of like a gym leader path. I don't know. You're going to go through trainers at least, and I'm probably the master, so it seems like it's going to be basically a gym. And then the frigid place, the tundra, is going to have a temple with some new Reggie Pokemon, as well as all the previous legendaries with Gigantamax forms that you can find in max raid battles. So that's pretty cool. And then both areas are actually going to have free camera control like the wild area. So rather than just a camera stuck behind you, you can actually rotate it around. I know a lot of people want to see areas like that. So you'll actually have a town to do the same.
You're telling me that I'll be able to use the suck-it stick on my controller to look around my game environment.
I know. It's unheard of.
Revolutionary. Pokemon out here really changing things in 2020, yeah.
Pokemon, they do it one at a time. You're like one decade at a time.
I don't know if any of you watch Red Letter Media, but it reminds me of when he said they broke new ground. Gosh, but yeah.
Everyone, all the haters are complaining that Pokemon is stuck in the past, that it hasn't innovated, in decades or whatever. And, they're seriously saying this with a straight face while Nintendo is bringing the second thumbstick into the new decade. Man, just, I really stand Nintendo.
There are more details, but I don't want to front load this too much. What did you guys think of this DLC?
As much as I like to make fun of Nintendo, as much as I do love Nintendo, I actually thought the announcement was pretty good. I think it's better than what they did say. There isn't going to be a third game, I definitely appreciated that because I've gotten tired of buying a third game or not buying with missing out on content. I am frustrated though that this is the way they've decided to add more Pokemon to the game. Like, does this mean so there are 200 new Pokemon being added? There are 400 in the game already, so that'll bring it up to 600.
So
There's 900 total. So how are the 300 left going to be coming over? Like, are we going to get more DLC? That's a little frustrating because it seems like, and I guess I'm more curious to see what the content actually looks like. Because if we're just paying for new Pokemon, then I'll be frustrated. If we are paying for a substantial end game, like we've seen in some other Pokemon games, not in this one, then I'll feel a little bit better about it. Like I want there to be like an actual, like we're paying how much? $30 here.
Yeah.
The game itself, if you run kind of straight through, takes about 20 hours to beat. Maybe a little more, about 20 hours, I think. And then if you go and try to catch all the Pokemon, it'll take you obviously substantially more. We're paying half the price, okay, for this expansion pack. So I want, 15 hours, 10 to 15 hours here of content, if not more. I don't want this to be like, oh, here's no content. Here's 3 buildings in a town, and go catch the rest of your Pokemon to make use of your time. It's like, no, there's got to be an actual like content here that'll take time. Otherwise, I feel like I'm getting kind of screwed over. So as long as I take it seriously, I'll probably get over it and buy it. Well, I already paid for it, so I'll buy it. But I'll probably be happy with it.
I like how you're like, they better do this if they want my money, which they already have. But
Yeah. Well, if they don't want me to complain on Twitter, then,
as you shake with money in your hands.
Yeah. Man, what do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I like what they're doing with it this time. With the third versions before, I wasn't usually interested. There were a couple of times where it was just because I like the Pokemon in the game, and I thought, like with X and Y, I was like, oh, I really like the Pokemon. I would like to play it again, but obviously I don't want to delete my save file, and I didn't really want to buy the game itself again, so I just never end up bothering. So I like that they're doing DLC and you can just continue from your save file. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't bother. And also, I think it's a lot more substantial than what they usually do, which I would hope so, because get with the times. But I think there'll be enough or close to it to justify it, because I think at least the first pass will be a gym and maybe some other stuff. There's a new battle mode. And then the second part is pretty much the end game they were missing. And my gripe with this is that I think some of it should have been in the game to begin with. Not necessarily all of it, because I don't think that much. But like the game was fairly narrow. There wasn't really much to explore besides like walking around the wild area. And like there was basically no end game. It's like you beat the game and it's like, wait, you still don't even have the legendaries. You have to do something afterwards. And that's it. It's like, this is pretty weak. You should really fix this. And it sucks that you have to pay for it in that sense, but I think some of the other content is probably fine to charge for. It's just a bit dumb. To clarify on the old Pokemon, so 200 of the old ones are returning. So you don't technically have to pay to get them, sort of. It's a quote-unquote free update. If you want to catch them in the wild, you have to pay for the DLC. If you just want to transfer them from other games, you don't have to buy the DLC. But at the same time, you have to have a subscription to Pokemon Home. And
I presume that probably won't cost more than $5 a year or something.
Yeah, I'm wondering if not to piss. Well, who knows? They may not, but it also seems kind of grimy for other people who are like, hey, bring back the old Pokemon. And it's like, hey, now you put it behind your subscription paywall, and probably could be seen as a grimy way to get new subscribers by holding them back. Unless they make like the first month free for people to sign up, then maybe it wouldn't be so bad. Like, yeah, we're making a subscription service, but, if you just want to return your old Pokemon like you normally would, then it's free. So I think they should do that, because the fact that they said they weren't going to bring over old Pokemon and then they did like 2 months later is already going to piss people off. Like, why'd you not say that much? Like, sure, they didn't have to mention the DLC. I understand marketing in that sense, but they could have been like, yes, old Pokemon are returning. We weren't able to put them in the game for XYZ reasons. Stay tuned for future updates or something. So I don't think they really handled the marketing for that well. But as far as content-wise, I think it'll be really interesting. There's a lot of new Pokemon, new Galarian forms. Even you can even get a free Slowpoke right now if you want to go in the game and go to the Wedgehurst station, it says, and then evolve it in one of the DLCs. So I'm looking forward to it whenever that when that comes out.
I mean, what I'm curious about with Pokemon Home is, so with Pokemon Bank, if you stop paying your subscription, your $5 year prescription, which isn't a lot, I think it's definitely worth it. It's it's just to they're probably making money off it, but it's not that bad. Once if you stop paying, you have one or two options. Either they'll just turn off your account, you won't lose your Pokemon, and then you could pay to get them back, to have access back, or you can transfer them out, back into your game. So in that way, like if you were playing through the final generation, in the last generation, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, and you're like, I want to stop using Pokemon Bank, and you transferred all your Pokemon back into your game, you could just stop paying, you'd be fine. However, with Pokemon Home, if you bring your Pokemon up that are not yet in Sword and Shield, your Pokemon are stuck, and you can't bring them back, generation. So they're stuck there if you don't want to pay. So I'm kind of confused as to why they don't let you bring Pokemon back. I mean, I get that there's probably some technical elements, but I guess the better question is, why would anyone bring their Pokemon into Pokemon Home if they can't use it in Sword and Shield anyway? Because it seems like there's no material benefit.
No, there isn't. It would just, like you said, they're stuck there, and then you have to pay for them, because if you care, you never know how long. I think I've heard people say they paid for Pokemon Bank, ditched it, and then came back months later and their Pokemon was still there. But obviously it's not really a smart idea to do that, because you never know if your file will be deleted or not. So you're pretty much stuck with leaving them in your game, and then only transferring them once they're available in Sword and Shield.
Yeah. I mean, so that's what I'm confused about. Overall, I thought it was a good direct. I thought I had some exciting announcements. I paid for the expansion pass, but I just hope it's worth it, because I think Pokemon fans, especially this time around, are going to be up in arms if it's not substantial content.
Yeah, they've put themselves in a bad place. I think they're kind of screwed, because if it's really good, or at least better than people thought, then people are going to be pissed because the base game was lacking in a lot of areas. But if it's not good, people are going to be like, well, you charged this much and you didn't even make it good. So I think they put themselves in a crappy situation. Who knows? It might be good enough where people are like, and it might be enough time has passed where people are like, you know what, fine, it's at least good and it's not as expensive.
I'm holding out to see if I ever like Pokemon before I commit. I was actually listening to a really funny podcast about Pokemon related stuff earlier. Did you guys watch the anime growing up? I'm sure.
Yeah.
There was one of my favorite podcasts, Retronauts. They have an annual Christmas tradition where they review a Christmas related cartoon instead of a video game. And I am a year behind on Retronauts podcast because they put them out so frequently I can't keep up with all the other podcasts. And I'm listening to the Christmas episode from last year where they're reviewing the very first Christmas episode where Jinx is revealed. And I learned all about Jinx and all about
the controversy.
Yeah, totally. Learned all about the controversy, how it had to be remodeled kind of as a little more sensitive design. And I didn't get through the whole episode yet. I'm sort of partway through it or whatever, but I was thinking of you guys I was thinking, I know all about Pokemon. See, I know all about Jinx now. I even looked at a picture.
What number
online.
is she on the Pokédex then?
Oh, geez, like 148. Am I close?
That's
I don't
probably
know.
pretty
That's
close. I think that
Dragonite.
she's.
I think it's like
I
70
think Jinx
something.
is probably like 120 something.
Dragonite.
I guess.
I'm gonna Google
I mean, I
it.
know it's 100 something in the first round,
Oh.
right? Or
Definitely 100
It's
something though.
it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what?
124.
We'll give you a slide since you.
Oh, dude, I was so close.
Well, what'd you
What
say,
is it?
Eli? I didn't hear it.
I said around 120.
It's-
What,
Wow,
123 is
nice.
the answer or what?
Yeah,
124.
124 is the answer.
Oh,
I guess
dang
like
it.
70. That was way off.
Oh, you fail. You're so
All I
not
remember is
Pokemon.
All I remember is Pikachu is 25, and it's also the channel of YTV. I'm on TV, so it just coincides.
did
Yo, no, Matt, that's a lie. Everyone knows Pokemon 1 through 9. All right, so
True.
I don't. Why isn't Pikachu number 1? They didn't know he was going to be the big star or what?
he was fat back
No.
then. They couldn't put
Well,
him.
Yeah,
number one.
fat
Also,
too.
no, I don't think they first. Yeah, he wasn't a starter, but also I don't think they knew he was going to be a star.
Right,
If I remember correctly, they had a different Pokemon.
They were
for
gonna
Ash, I
choose
think.
Clefairy.
Yeah, that's it.
I
It was
don't know
Clefairy.
why.
They thought was going to be the.
Huh. That's awesome. There's a little bit of trivia I didn't know. Because I always knew like he's kind of like the main star, obviously, but I didn't know he's like not 1. You know, but then it's
No.
like kind of funny because like
It's-
I kind of sense that as an outsider playing Smash, it's like the way that they really heavily feature Squirtle and like the dragon guy whose name I forget, and like those guys, like I could tell they're kind of like important in a way that he's different. Like I don't know, it's just something you can sense as an outsider.
It's funny that you mentioned like, oh, I didn't realize he's not Pokemon number 1, and there's a meme of like, not a Mexican standoff, but something like that, where all these characters are pointing towards each other, and they're like all these
Right.
different Pokemon, and it's all of the ones that like could technically be number 1 for like a variety of reasons.
Oh, interesting.
It's like the
I
first
see.
one that was created, the first in the Pokedex, the first in like a different
Oh, right.
Pokedex, like God
Right.
Pokemon.
Right. That's funny.
It's like I
That's
think it's like the Spider-Man pointing meme.
Gotcha. That's great. Well,
Yeah.
now I learned something.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right.
One,
Wait, you guys didn't even
Mike,
mention
I was-
Pokemon Rescue
I was
Rangers.
just gonna get to that. So
Oh,
speaking
shit.
of, they
Snap.
yeah, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers with Pokemon. Yeah, so
Great.
Pokemon
Too
they
easy.
they announced Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team, the remake. It's a game that a lot of specific audience of Pokemon has really been asking. Well, they've been asking for a new game for I don't know how many years. It feels like a decade. It's probably been less. I don't know. I haven't been
And-
counting.
Wait,
But-
I needed to ask.
They were-
I felt like Matt and Eli played this because I know my younger
I
brother played
did.
it, and I was always kind of interested because they wear ascots like my boy Fred, and they wear bandanas.
Seal the
you know,
reason.
but I was gonna ask you guys. I know a demo's out already.
Mhm.
If you guys are interested and you could play the demo already, obviously everybody here would know, but the listener. But yeah. I was wondering, how do you guys feel about the graphic remake? And do you like the first Rescue, game, or is it like not really your favorite one or whatever?
Yeah, the first one is not only the best Mystery Dungeon game, but it is one of the best Pokemon games out there.
Whoa.
It is,
Wow.
Eli's getting day 0, baby.
no, I mean it is terrific. I don't know if it's as good as the mainline or some of the some. It's definitely better than some of the mainline games. I would probably still say that like Red, Heart Gold, Emerald for me are probably still better, but it is terrific. Like the original Mystery Dungeon, and the reason is because the gameplay is good too, but it's actually the story. It has easily the best story of any Pokemon game. And it's not even close. It's like head and shoulders. And I think one of the reasons Pokemon fans are excited is because, or those that have played Mystery Dungeon in the past, is because the newer Mystery Dungeon games, the ones that have been coming out the last few, pretty much since the second one, I'd say, have all had really tame stories. The stories have been like for children, pretty much. Whereas the first game, especially in the second game, also to an extent, had far more serious stories and had ones. Now, I should caveat this entire thing with the fact that I played the original Pokemon Red when I was in third the original Red Rescue Team when I was in like 3rd or 4th grade. So
No, I just remember one of us really liked it, and I'm actually kind of interested in it because like I didn't really get to play it truly, and I was, like, yeah, compared to mainline Pokemon games, obviously it's not going to be like as great as some of them, but like if you're saying it's probably the best Pokemon spin-off game, then like I would definitely take your word for it. So I'm kind of excited for it. I know it's like March 6th, so.
Primarily because the story is so terrific. And as I said, so now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, well, I played the game in 3rd or 4th grade, so I guess it was an incredible story for me at 9.
And now you find out the story is like, hey, we got to go rescue this Pokemon. Let's go. You're like,
possible. But I do remember I was not the only one who thought this. I do remember talking to other people who did play the game as adults and agreed. So I am not crazy.
Other 4th graders agreed. It was fucking cool, bro. But Mom keeps taking away my Game Boy. This sucks.
Hey man, Eli was back. It was during still the struggle days. All right, he didn't have no backlight. All right.
I'm just busting balls. I'm the guy that like will defend games from the 70s to the death, and you guys would be like, these games are terrible. Objectively,
this
like,
Atari game is just the worst.
I'm like, yeah, yeah, exactly.
You're like Atari Pac-Man. What is this?
I guess a fun fact about these original games too. I don't know if you guys remember, but Red Rescue Team, Blue Rescue Team came out concurrently, and it was like 2003, I want to say. So the DS had come out, but the Game Boy Advance was still like super popular. So what they did is Red Rescue Team came out on the Game Boy Advance, and Blue Rescue Team came out on the DS because it was like this new console. I didn't have the DS yet, so I played on the Game Boy Advance. So no blacklight, just it hurt my eyes.
Dude, I feel that. Play at nighttime, had to play through the crevice of the door. All right, I know, bro. But all right, cool. I'm excited for it. I'm actually downloading the demo now, so I'm gonna play it. Let you guys know, and I'll probably pick it up. I know it's March 6, 2020, so that has a confirmed date. I don't know if the DLC has a confirmed date though.
Matt, you're getting beat at your own game. You didn't even check the demo on a Pokemon game.
I know.
Dude,
I downloaded it. I didn't get to it yet.
Of course he downloaded it, Clay. Nobody downloaded the demo as fast as.
What did you do with the real Matt? What did you do with the real Matt? Who is this guy? Matt's evil twin here.
Yeah. Matt's evil twin only downloads demos, then deletes them. That's it. Like,
I'm still working on Luigi's Mansion. It's been too long. Should have finished that. I'm like 2 chapters away from that. I gotta finish it.
You're playing an actual game and not a demo. What
Luigi's Mansion is legitimately a 30-minute game.
I got it for like Christmas, and I'm still playing it like a month later. It's terrible.
Funny sidebar there about Luigi's Mansion. The other night, I might have had some drinks. I came home from a night on the town with some debauchery involved at a concert with friends, and I put in the old Luigi's Mansion like on GameCube, and I just started up a random save file just for something to do before I fell asleep, and I couldn't figure out how to play it. I'll be dead. I was like walking around like clicking the flashlight, and a ghost was appearing, and I'm like, how do I catch this guy? And I'm like pressing every button on the controller, I swear, and I'm like, I feel like a grandpa. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like I think I started a save file in the middle of like where I need to find something, but it was a really comical experience of like futile, like inept gameplay where I'm like, I can't catch this ghost. He just keeps walking away from me every time. It was a very embarrassing moment in my life. I was like, I think I need to go to bed. That's the story.
Nice. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, pretty sad. Yeah, it was awful. I'm a guy who just beat Dark Souls this month, but I couldn't like catch a single ghost in Luigi's Mansion.
So that goes to show you that Dark Souls overrated. All right, Luigi's Mansion. That's where it's at.
We'll get to that. Yeah, but anyhow.
Yeah. I do want to back up Eli and saying I have heard people like the earlier mystery games a lot more. And maybe that's why I thought it's been on a hiatus for so long, which it hasn't. The last one was 2016. And they're usually like 3 or 4 parts.
I played it. It was pretty good. I played Super Mystery World or whatever it was called. It was pretty good.
Yeah, man. I was going to say I think it just kind of took a backseat because it was an older spinoff. Think about it. There was Pokemon Quest, obviously Pokemon Go. There was that Pokemon RPG where they were kind of like Like, remember it was like mid Asian time. I think it was like a tactical RPG. Like there's just so many Pokemon spin off. Yeah, Conquest. Yeah, and I was just like, yeah, I guess Rescue because it was already established. It kind of got pushed to the back for like, oh, I like Pokemon, so I know that's coming out. And they're like, here's our new stuff you guys want, and you guys are like, nah, I don't want that elephant game. Even though Matt says it was still. I mean, Eli said it was good, but still, I don't want no damn Game Freak game unless it's a Pokemon game. I don't trust them. Don't trust them.
Fair.
All right.
Yeah, let's get on to real news out here. All right, enough with this kitty direct.
All right, we'll get on to the other news of the day. Literally today was the Smash announcement. They announced the 5th character, which is Byleth from Fire Emblem. They also announced... Crap, I just scrolled past my notes. They announced more Mii costumes. Altair from Assassin's Creed, Rabbids from Rabbids, Cuphead with a song. So it kind of seems like maybe... Yeah, it kind of seems like maybe we'll get indie characters as Mii costumes with music or with songs attached, which would be neat since they're probably not going to make it in as full-fledged DLC characters anyway.
The Cuphead costume, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't even like you look like me. It looked just like your Cuphead. Like,
yeah.
Am I wrong? It was like...
Yeah, that's how Sans worked, you fool. From last month.
Was it? I never look at those. I literally never use those costumes. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, but they come with the songs, man. That's how they get you. That's how they get those 3/4, 75 cents for the song.
I pretty much bought it for the song.
Yeah, me too, man. I was thinking about buying Cuphead just for the song, or Mega Man EXE just for that damn song. So good.
Damn. Yeah, I always forget about that. They come with songs because I never use Mii Fighter, so I never even am tempted in the slightest to like buy those costumes.
It's only like the so far Sans and then now Cuphead actually come with songs. The other ones don't.
Okay. Oh man, that makes me want Sans. It's only $1, right?
Yes,
something like that. Yeah.
No, less than $1. Less than $1. Like 90 something after tax, unless you like just say
40 rubles.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good deal. I mean, the Cuphead song. Everybody who's played Cuphead knows you've heard the song 900 fucking times because you probably played that level 900 fucking times, like just to beat it. And it's like, and Mike, who like 100% of the game on hard, has heard it more
200.
than that. Yeah, sorry, throwing shade on your scores there, but like, I just like that's a little less tempting, but just then you have to play as a Mii fighter, and I'm like,
well, the downside is that then you have to play on the crappy stages because they only put those songs with like the random other assortment of stages.
Yeah, they put. Oh,
it's not specific, so it's like, if I want to play this good song, I got to play this crap stage.
You got to play like Plankton or something.
Yeah. The only like good way to play it is if you play Final Destination or Battlefield on it.
You're saying that it only gets assigned to the levels that are kind of like not a Mario level or something like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
so
there's
you can't put it in a Zelda level, but you can put it in. I can only think of Electroplankton right now, but you can't put it in other levels. You can't put it in like any main hero's home level.
I mean, like that's a good quantity of levels though, because like I don't know if you guys do what I do, but I've gone through and I didn't even know. Call me an ignorant, but this is some news for people. I actually had 2 friends who didn't know it, that you have to go in the store and buy all the music in the game. I had no idea. Honestly, I'm an ignorant fool. Like,
no, they've been doing that, I think, since the last one. So
I'm just ignorant. I didn't pay that much attention to that kind of stuff, and my friend turned me onto it. So I've been going in there, first of all, buying all the songs as fast as I can. Now it's finally slowed down. I probably had to buy like 50, 60 of them, and then you go in the music and you rebalance all the music to have the songs you like play a little bit more. I'm always balancing them all so they're all equal, like turning them all down to like the bottom so that it's all like relatively equal chance of getting played, because I just like to hear all the music. And there are a lot of stages that have that like that library or whatever we're calling like all the other songs. Like those are the worst ones to balance, in fact, because there are so many songs. You literally are sitting there for like 4 minutes per stage, going down that menu, moving those little levers around so that it's just crazy. They need a button that says like balance all music equally. It would just be like one button in the whole game and they don't have it. So,
that's a good idea. I never would have thought of that idea though. I mean, that's because
I just like hearing it all. I just don't want to hear like the 1 or 2 songs mostly. I want to hear like
Oh yeah, no, I do the same thing. I mean, also Clay, I don't know if you know, but if you go on the Nintendo eShop, there's free downloads for anyone who has Switch Online. So there's some extra coins if you need them or tickets and stuff.
What did you say? I kind of cut out.
On the Nintendo eShop, if you get your free downloads, because like anyone who has online, there's they give free Smash stuff all the time, like extra coins or more item, more for the challenges and all that. So.
I don't think I know.
If you haven't claimed it, it'll always be there. So like if you're like, oh man, I really don't feel like grinding today, it'll be there on the Nintendo eShop. You just go down near where your NES and SNES download was, and you'll see some Smash stuff for free.
Oh, weird. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, I don't think I know about that. Sounds
trust me, man. There's so many songs, and some of these levels too. Like, I mean, some of these levels always balance out. In my opinion, the worst song, it'll be like maxed out. So I get what you're saying. But you don't want everything equal chance. I mean, everyone's gonna have bias. But I get what you're saying. You want to hear.
You can pick like some of them, But I mean, there's so many songs. I want to hear. Like, I love all the old chiptune music. I'm super bigger fan of that stuff than usually the main song that they have at the top two that they have at the top.
So it's always their remixed ones. It's always their redone ones. And like the same thing. One of my favorite songs is Mega Man vs. Zero from X5. And like when I got it, I'm looking at it, it's like -1% for that song to play. I'm like, what the heck, man? Like, play this good song. But
yeah.
All right, Vlad,
moving on to
the news.
Yeah, the rest of it.
Yeah.
So Byleth says the Fighter Me costumes, and then Fighter Pass 2. It has 6 more characters, and if you pre-order it, you'll get the Zelda Guardian armor from Breath of the Wild as a Me costume. The characters are already decided, so he said stop bugging him on Twitter because he can't do anything about it.
I just DM'd him, though. You think Dixie's making it?
So yeah, 6 more characters, and it's going to be spread across the next 2 years, so by the end of 2021.
My guess it would be the exact same timeline as ours. Like, you know how this is 2020 and the last character came out? I say 2021 January. You know what I mean? Because, I don't get why they didn't like make this announcement when the Game Awards or, when they had Smash's 1-year birthday. But, my guess would be it's not really going to be 2021 in July. It's going to be more like, January 2021, or it could get earlier. I just think they set a later date.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But at the same time, like with all the characters they've been releasing, they've been consistent with when all their stuff has come out.
Yeah.
Like with Smash 4 and with this. Agree. So.
Any hopes, guys? I mean, I'm out of hopes. I said Dixie and Phoenix, right? Just those are the only guys I like, and I wouldn't mind them. But again, I told you I was washed out after Banjo, and even though the character today, I know we haven't said it yet, right, came out. I mean, it was disappointing, but like overall, like if I didn't get Banjo, like Eric K. Rule, I would have been way more upset. So I can understand people who still haven't got the character they wanted to see in Smash, why they're mad. I totally relate to that. But like, I can't get as mad because I got the character I wanted in, even if I don't play him. So
I can get mad for you.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean I'm always mad when there's more when we're playing Soul Calibur. I mean Fire Emblem. I mean we're playing Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
I think Sakurai is just trying to switch careers and be a Fire Emblem guy. But yeah.
I think he's in a poor position because like Nintendo made the list, and I'm pretty sure they're like, yeah, you're putting this one in.
Yeah, they're like, here's all the
like, we would like it if you put this in, but here's a list and you can choose. And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. All right, whatever.
He's like, fine. Does Intelligent Games do Fire Emblem?
He's like, can I put in Joker for your stupid Fire Emblem character? Yes, fine, I'll do it. Whatever.
I'm telling you, he wants to be the director of Fire Emblem. He's going for that job. Whoever's the head of it's gotta watch out. That's why Sakurai every week he's like, yo, can we add this Fire Emblem? And they tell him no. And then he just does it behind their back.
I think there's definitely some committee going on there because they're really pushing Fire Emblem, and I'm sure he's a fan for real. But yeah, like he's not the only person deciding, and that it's business. It's business sense,
He
it's
also
like we're pushing
said like with Corn, he's like, yeah, this is kind of pushing it. And then he like tried to save face, and he's like, but there was something interesting, and the team was interested. It's like, well, you let the cat out of the bag of it. You're already like, there's too many. Even with Corn.
Today, he goes, oh, I don't know. I watched like half. I was in and out because once I saw it was another Fire Emblem. All right, guys, we keep saying it, but we haven't revealed it. It's Byleth or whatever. I played Three Houses. I beat Three Houses. So I still don't know how to say the guy's name because I just use my own name. But
just say blah. Because that's how you probably feel about it, right? Like, yeah, it's black.
Yeah, so like he's okay. I don't want to say he's the same as Marth. Like he does have some cool features, but at the same time, it's like I'm tired of sword characters in the sense where, let's say you play like a heavy or you like the Mario Brothers, they're ass against sword characters technically because they get outranged. Like it does not matter. The character is a slower Marth or he's taller Marth. They're still outranged by default of having a sword.
So does this sword character not have a reflect? Because that seems to be like a characteristic of most Fire Emblem
he does not. No,
it's the one character without a counter.
Do all other Fire Emblem characters have a counter?
Yeah.
The only one who doesn't have, I think, is Robin.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Robin's the only one.
Because he has the
Right. But yeah, every other character. I mean, Robin though is more of I think a technician, not a swordsman.
Yeah, he's like a mage.
Yeah, so that's why he doesn't have a counter. But the other 7 Fire Emblem characters, they are swordsmen, so they can hit down B and reflect. This guy, they tried to change him up. They gave him 3 different weapons. Cool idea. Again, he has some cool concepts, but the idea of having another sword character, especially a Fire Emblem character, is so boring.
Bluish, greenish hair as well.
Yeah.
Same, like
the character design is the worst part. The character design, as an outsider of the series, I haven't played Fire Emblem except for like one of the GBA ones. It's like they look exactly like the other Fire Emblem characters. That's kind of like the worst part about it.
Yeah,
that's why everyone loves Roy. By the way, that's why everybody likes Roy because he's
different.
Why
he's a boy.
Not like the other ones. I mean, he's not that different. I hear you. He's just
he's got red hair. He wins automatically from that. But Clay.
I hear you.
What Sakurai said at the end of the thing? He goes, "Oh, we look for things to be different. We look for unique concepts." And I'm like, "You bullshit artist, bro. You literally pick anyone with a sword because it's the easiest model you could do, and there you go." Like, his up smash, I'm pretty sure Joker's up tilt.
I think it's more like the company. I think the company probably put some pressure on it. They were like,
why? But Fire Emblem is not on the level of Mario or Zelda. Like,
they already have all those characters. I don't know. I hear you.
Dude, they can if they can make Piranha Plant a character, they can make anyone a character.
You know what? Maybe it's the Fire Emblem Heroes. Maybe they're just like, oh, go on.
No, I think they just sold. I mean, they sold a million of these passes. They don't really care anymore. They can just sell the second set, so they're gonna put all the good ones in.
It's true. Like I could buy the second set right now and hope it will be another Fire Emblem character. Granted, I know it'll be 7 out of 6 of them will be Fire Emblem, but still.
I mean, I bet you we get. I'll say it here on the podcast right now. I bet you we get zero Fire Emblem characters in the next pack.
You're right. We're gonna get Rex and Pyra, which are also sword fighters.
No, I don't believe it. First off, I would have taken any sword character. I would have taken, I don't care if it was Dark Link or the Phantom that Zelda has as her down B as a character. I would have taken anyone that was not a Fire Emblem sword
Nightmare
character.
from Soul Calibur. Stinking Unoclay. It was funny. Unoclay this morning was I was at work and he's teasing it like 5 minutes before. He's like, "Oh my gosh, Travis touchdown!" I'm like, "Don't spoil it. I'm going to turn off like all my notifications." And then I'm like, "Man, I wish it was real because Travis touchdown would have been cooler."
Cuphead was the real fifth character we got. Yeah. Cuphead was the character. All right.
Travis Touchdown would have been the best realistic of all the big memes that were going around the last 3 days over the 3-finger meme. Yeah. Travis was like easily the best one to me.
What was the link for Travis? Just Travis 3 was coming out?
Yeah, the third one's coming exclusively to Switch this year, hopefully. That was the
there's a lot of 3s I could have went on. I mean,
Bayonetta 3.
There was Bayonetta 3 as well. So. But I like that the idea of Travis because it is coming to Switch. So I like that.
That would have been rad if it was Bayonetta again. It's just like
Bayonetta with different hair. I'm like, you know what? I don't know. I don't really
less clothes. Less clothes.
You say that, but they did release 2 Bayonetta amiibo. So
True.
Eli thinking ahead of the game right now. They're like, look, we split the character from not being a costume to a second Bayonetta. I've been like, well, I paid money for it and I got duped. Let me buy the second pack. I'll tell you one thing though. I ain't buying that second pack right now, and you want to know why? Because that reward is ass. Last count, I get Piranha Plant, and now they give me some trash of the wild costume. First, they want me to bark with their selection, okay, and then second off, a garbage costume. All right, come on, man, come on.
Damn, harsh. I mean, I never bought the first pack. I have none of. I want Banjo, and I wish you could just buy the stages like for a cheaper price, because I wish I could have the stages without the characters and the
How
music.
dare you? That's
I
their
know.
hometown, bro.
I just don't want Joker. I don't care about Terry and Byleth. I definitely don't care about, because it's like Hero. I love the idea. It's like so. Hero from Dragon Quest is such a unique idea. That's what Sakurai's talking about when he's like saying we try to think of something new to do with the character.
All the characters that came out were unique. Granted, Joker was not really that unique. Like I remember me and Matt were talking, like you could see a lot of his moves are kind of like carried over. Yeah. But like, I mean, Joker sucks, and he's the new Bayo, by the way. But
at least he has good music to go with it.
Yeah. It's just
that's about it.
I don't know, man. Like it just felt like they milked this one in, like Eli said.
I think it was committee. I think it was a decision by committee. They're like, Three Houses is one of our big flagship games that we want to keep hyping, and you're gonna.
Well, yeah, the DLC is coming out, so
right.
Yeah.
It was a business decision. It
So
was
what
like
came-
that means we're gonna get an
today as
Animal
well.
Crossing. That means we're gonna get an Animal Crossing character, according to you guys. You're like, oh, business decision. So in March, Animal Crossing. So therefore, we're getting Mr.
Oh my
Rossetti.
god!
No.
If I could, like, can you imagine?
I'd
Timmy
rather
and
have Mr.
Tommy
Rossetti than
if they were a
Byleth.
character.
We're getting Billy Hatcher, boys. All right.
Yeah. What did Eli said?
I said, what if we had Animal Crossing with Timmy and Tommy?
Oh no, Eli. No.
I think that's actually a really good call. I mean, like, if there's Animal Crossing mainline coming out this year, I don't really follow it.
In March.
That's a huge good call, because they knew that release calendar, and Sakurai said they're all been decided already. So if there are some business decisions going on for some
guys, I'm getting on the internet right now looking for every major Nintendo game coming out this year. I'll be like, oh, of course, they only released the character of the game. That's it. No more third party, no more second party, no more Dixie party. Only release characters.
I don't think that's the case. Like, that it'll be only that, but I think it'll definitely influence some of the characters. Some of them.
I get that.
You know.
Yo, here's the question: did the Fire Emblem DLC come first, or did the new character for Smash come first? Like, which is selling the other?
Ooh, dang! I'm like, the DLC was announced first, but quote Sakurai works months in advance.
Yeah, interesting. No, it's true. I think it is definitely a decision by committee. They're an enormous company. This is one of the best-selling games they have, and Sakurai doesn't get to say only his preferences. You know, he gets a lot of.
You could have got EGAD then. Baloney. I'm calling baloney. You guys. EGAD.
Yeah, I don't know. So ranking them, like, let me guess. We all think Banjo was the best one of this pack of the five, right?
Yeah, Banjo was that. I mean, I don't really like to play him, but he was definitely the coolest, most unique one of the pack.
So who's the runner-up for everybody? Joker, Hero, Terry, Byleth?
It's only five,
Hero is really unique and cool. To be fair, I barely played them, but I think Hero is really, really cool and unique.
I think Hero's cool too.
I'd probably say
I
Hero,
really like Hero
is the most unique of them all.
Yeah.
And then
Hero.
I like
Hero's
Banjo.
probably the most exciting.
Yeah. I didn't really care for Terry, but I understand he has some stuff. What?
Banjo was your number one of all time, right, Matt? Like,
his number one.
No, I'm glad he's there. But
that's
I mean, I can't deny that Hero has like a really cool moveset.
Hero's
because also
completely
like
different.
sword
Like, Hero
characters,
is not Smash, like, which is cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
And like, for me, even if I don't like the characters, like Joker, never played a game of it. Dragon Quest, I've only ever played 2 of them, like the OGest ones. Banjo, never played it. All the rest, never played them. It's
never
like,
played Banjo,
for me,
bro? Come on, man.
Not yet. It's on my list, I know. But for me, like, the biggest disappointment is when the characters don't feel like they're Hall of Fame level for like these Fire Emblem newbies. That to me, it's like, man, you're not Hall of Fame level. This is the Hall of Fame. Like Terry, legit. Like, I don't play that game, but you're worthy. You know, it's like, it's a shout out.
Neo Geo kind of thing. Like, I mean, I knew Terry, even though I didn't really play Neo Geo games. Yeah.
It's like legit. Hero is so legit because it's like Dragon Quest is such a big deal in Japan. It's like the most legit thing. So that's why Byleth is kind of like the lamest on a lot of levels. That it's like, well, but you're new. Like you're a
Well, it's
new
all-
character. You know, it's like
It's
hmm.
also
Your
like
argument
out
is
of-
good, but at the same time, that argument was already made for the Smash Wii U when they announced Bowser Jr. and Rosalina and all that other stuff. They're like, oh, got to get Nintendo's trash bins, you know, and on that. But
Yeah, but I don't think those. Well, Rosalina was new, but Bowser Jr. is legit. Like
Yeah.
I don't
think,
know, man. The Koopa kids had their time. The Bowser Jr. got their sunshine time. But dude, that Rosalina, that early decade of 2010s when they forced her down her throat, and she was the best character in like everything she was in, was really annoying. It was in Smash Wii U, in 3D World, I think in Mario Kart 8, like original, like freaking tier list. Like it was just like, oh my god, please.
Yeah, they made her OP. They wanted to bring a new princess in the fold. They decided they're going to do it, and that's that. Like, you're getting it. You're getting it.
They knocked a few characters out of like player selects for Rosalina, but look, man, like I mean, I can't be mad. It was just they delayed it for so long that it made it seem like it was going to be bigger. Yeah. And that's why I think everybody's mad, and I'm disappointed. Like I said, I'm not mad. It's like I got 3 out of 5 characters I really like, and one I really really wanted. So I'm like, you know what, this is not bad. I could deal with this. Yeah. However, the way they went about it, trash.
Yeah.
So you're feeling all right on the pass?
Yeah. The pass, I still think it's worth it. Like I still think the pass is worth it. Like the stages, the music, and most of the characters. I hope he's fun. He comes out 9 days, right? 28th, so 12 days.
Yeah.
So I don't know, 2 weeks from now, we'll see how it is. I'm gonna play him, and then I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, he exists, and then I'm gonna go on with my life.
I still have like 35 characters to unlock. Like, so
my gosh,
I'm not even at the
Claim Byleth is next for you, bro.
No. Like I'm just trying to classic mode complete every classic mode character 8.0 or higher that I have unlocked. So I'm almost there. I did them in order, like across the board. So I only need to do Piranha Plant classic mode, which is surprisingly hard because he's such a weird ass character, and I've been playing him, and I'm like, I got to get like 8.0 or higher to finish this and count it. And then
I got a question for the round table. One character you want, and one crazy guess for the pack, and then we can move. I'm done with it.
Eli.
All right, I gotta head out after I make this guess.
All right, let me hear it, Eli.
But I gotta think. What do I want? This is.
He wants Charmander with a bandana. Okay, good.
So you're saying what are you saying? Like one that you legitimately want?
Okay.
Yeah, one you legit want, and one crazy pick out of what I mean? Like because it could be anything. We don't know what's gonna happen.
The one I want that is also a strange pick. I guess Travis Touchdown is one that you guys mentioned earlier.
Hell yeah!
I want their crazy pick.
That's I don't know both, but I guess I'll drop a second
that's
one
not
then.
Crazy. Travis isn't crazy. That's like
okay.
Like,
so that's the
crazy.
one I want then. And then my crazy choice will be oh
Mass
my
Effect
god,
guy.
Like dream pick.
Yeah. Okay. Crazy guess. Crazy. Okay. You guys go. I'll yell it out once I think of it.
All right. I told you guys mine. Mine is Dixie Kong, which I think is realistic because she was in Tropical Freeze, and I think a new Donkey Kong game might be on the way. And then Phoenix Wright is my dream pick of the 6 because Capcom has a good relationship. He's got a lot of games on here. So,
that's possible. I think like. So you're saying which one is your realistic and which is your like crazy
Dixie
dream?
is my realistic because I think Capcom's not going to give any more characters. I think Dixie has a better chance than Phoenix Wright because they would rather give Dante. Like I feel like they'd rather give other properties.
They're not impossible. Like neither of those is impossible.
Okay, then I'll go with Master Chief because it's not crazy enough. Okay, Halo 6 is coming. They were like, damn, we need more hype. Put Master Chief in the game.
There's no way that's happening. That is
yeah, you'll see.
Oh, okay. My guess will be Conquer then for my crazy one.
Contra?
Conquer.
Oh, Conquer.
I thought he said Contra too.
That Conquer would be so awesome and kind of legit. Like that. I wish. Oh man, that's
it'd
great.
Be funny if they got him to swear though in the game, like he knocks someone out and says, "Get out of here, asshole," or something like that. That'd be funny.
If they just
whoa! There's no guns in this Smash game. Sakurai said so. No guns.
There's no guns at all.
No, that was the joke people made when Bayo came out. Because in Melee, he was like, "There'll never be guns in my game."
No way, because he had Bayonetta. Yeah, she's got him on her shoes. Yeah,
and Snake's got one too, right?
Yeah, Snake's got like
he's got a rocket.
Yeah,
no, Snake doesn't have any guns. He actually doesn't have any gun though. He has an RPG, a mortar, And I,
mean, if
know PM gave him like a
grenade.
Digimon, sure.
Yeah,
He used to have
my
C4
launcher
for
is
the
not a gun.
He has everything that's
This-
not a gun. He just has weapons.
Gotcha. I mean, Duck Hunt's shooting bullets all over the screen. You never see the gun, but there's like bullets flying around and stuff. Yeah, so
that's
I love those picks. I love your picks. All both of you guys. Matt,
Ooh,
who you got?
give me another minute. I'm going to look
Matt's
up
drawing
something.
his guys. He's like, yo, this is exactly. He's making his own OC.
Yeah,
He's like,
my-
I want an
my own
original
character. Yeah, great.
He's my craziest pick is the original.
Funny thing is, I am trying to finish the design, but give me
Matt
a
thinks-
sec.
Well, Matt thinks like,
Yeah.
all right, Eli, I agree with. I vote Travis. Travis deserves to be in Smash. He's not brand new. He's only been around since Wii, but he's got a character with so much personality, and I always say he'd be like a nice balance to Bayonetta. He's like the male Bayonetta because he's like psycho, asshole, crazy person, and like kind of a good contrast to her, like male female contrast. Like I can just see his logo on the screen in my mind. I'm like, no, he'd be so rad with his laser sword and like his ninja moves and stuff or whatever. But and like I always say the same ones when we get crazy. Like I want any game, like any adventure game representation, like which Sakurai clearly doesn't like have love for, like anything like Purple Tentacle and like or anything from Secret of
What the
Island.
heck are you talking about? I'm with Sakurai out here. What the heck? Purple Tentacle? I'd rather have Batman in the game, all right?
I want like any no adventure, like classic point and click, like Leisure Suit Larry. Like,
Okay, guys. Oh, Leisure, that's funny. Leisure. I thought you were going too deep and you were going with that yellow dot from Adventure. All right?
No, like Purple Tentacle from Maniac Mansion or something, like would be so rad. Like
Monkey
that
Island guy. I got you.
Like
Some
the-
random
Yeah.
old school adventure game. Yeah, Sakurai only likes RPGs, it seems like, and fighting
Yeah.
games.
And to me, it's like those are the big overlooked thing that's not represented in the Smash Hall of Fame. Like those games are so humongous to a whole generation of people that grew up playing games on computer. And I'm like, dude, like at Maniac Mansion, say that word to anyone my age and you just freak out. You're like, that was one of the greatest games of all time, period. Like it's just the funniest, earliest experience with like a funny game that you ever played. Any of that stuff. It's like, I don't know. I know it's like a hard sell, like, and a lot of people be freaked out, but I think there's this like undercurrent of older gamers that would love it a lot more than Byleth. Like, let's just put it that way.
At least Byleth, bro. Like, even though everybody likes Three Houses.
All right. Eli's got a bust. Eli's got a bust.
Run
All
your
right,
way.
see
Get
ya.
out of here.
All right, Eli. Be good,
See you,
brother.
dude.
See y'all later.
Yeah,
All right,
Clay,
Matt.
before Matt goes, yeah, everybody, like, in Smash forums, they like Three Houses. Like, everybody owns a Switch, likes Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Sure,
and they're mad
sure.
at the pick, which is kind of crazy because you got to think about it this way. Like, it's not like people are like, oh, the game sucks, who cares? It's like, again, I think it was the delivery and just, like, how long, and how they're like, oh, even Nintendo will be surprised. Like,
Yeah,
why the hell do you pick a Nintendo character if Nintendo is going to be surprised kind of thing? Like, people like this game, and now you made them kind of dislike it because they're just so mad
Yeah.
at the execution.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it felt like a
it's-
lot of people are mad about this pick.
Yeah, people kind of should have been prepared, like since last Smash DLC, where they also ended off with
Corrin.
coincidentally another Fire Emblem character, but also it was disappointing. But I would say the best characters are going to be the ones announced at E3, like Hero and
Oh, yeah.
Banjo. So don't expect the last to mean anything. It's pretty much, if it shows up at E3, that's probably going to be the height of it, because that's going to be where they get the most attention.
All the
I don't
corn memes back in the day, dude. You remember that?
What?
when they put corn instead of corn.
Oh yeah, corn.
I think, Matt, I hear what you're saying, and I agree that they could easily use E3 to launch a big one and use it as a big part of the presentation. But the opposite side of that is that these are built-in hype machines. They can drop whenever they want,
Sure.
and they almost wouldn't need to at E3. Like it's like
They don't need to, but I think I don't know.
you know what
It
I mean? You're,
probably
like,
just
spending- it's like spending
like-
your best ammo, like, you know, at the like least important time. It's just like, well, you know, show us big new games. Yeah, Smash, you know what I mean? But like,
I don't know.
and you're probably
You could think of
right.
it
I mean,
like another way, whereas E3 has so much news going on that putting your biggest foot forward is going to give you quote
yeah,
unquote
get you
the
in the news
edge.
cycle.
Versus
Right,
if you
get you
announced Terry at E3, like people would forget about that under the swath of all the other news. Whereas
Right.
if you put
It could
something
break
big,
either
it's
way.
like, yeah.
If
Like,
they
you're
don't have
right,
enough big news, if they don't have enough big news, maybe they go big with the Smash because they got nothing else. But if they got other things to show, then maybe not. If they have Metroid 4 to show, drop the mic. They fucking.
Well, yeah, but no, Clay, you're right though. Like they could easily take all the headlines at any time they want with a big Smash character announcement. You know, like you could just be like, "Oh, the games weren't that great, but did you know they announced this character?" And it's like,
right,
oh.
it's in their
like
pocket.
It
It's
works.
It's like huge ammo.
It's gonna get news anytime because it's not like it's just gonna. That's just the nature of it. There isn't video game news every day.
Everybody cares. Every gamer cares on some level about it, and it's like so. It could go either way. I think you could be right. And then on the other hand, it could be like, if they have something big enough that they want to show, why waste it? Why waste Smash on this? You know, like that is the number one thing people tune in.
I guess the thing is that no matter, I guess the point I could see or make is that when they announce a character outside of an event like E3, they're going to get hits regardless. So putting your biggest guns out in the middle of no news like doesn't matter because you're already going to get news regardless.
Yeah, like today, like there's no news.
Like Terry, a lot of people didn't know who the heck he was, but they were still talking about him. So even though like he was lower on the totem pole, like he got a lot of news versus like with E3, you
so maybe they bring their.
It also like bolsters their direct if people are like, if Smash characters weren't there or weren't great or whatever, and like the rest of the direct wasn't great, people would be like, oh man, this direct sucks. But put a couple of Smash characters in there and people are like, oh man, this is amazing.
Yeah, when people aren't expecting it, it always does best too. Like when they're announcing news and then they throw a Smash character versus like when they're like, we're going to announce something, because then people have expectations. But when they're just like, all right, here's games that are coming out and what the heck is this? And then it's like, and then everything goes crazy. And that's what Nintendo does best.
And one more thing. Yeah.
All right, Matt, what's your damn characters, bro?
Yeah,
all right. So for realistic, I had a couple, but I think Gino is probably the most realistic.
Okay.
Out of the list I chose because I don't know, they're well aware of him and
it's second party, so it is real.
Yeah, and I think the problem with Gino was that with Square Enix, you had many characters, but especially two other big ones that would have, as far as I'm concerned, the conversation is, we're not putting in Gino in unless you put in Cloud and Hero first, because obviously those are their like biggest characters.
Yeah, those are Square Enix's faces.
Yeah. I mean, there are other ones too, like Lara Croft apparently is really high up on their list as well. But I mean, as far as what represents Square Enix, like Cloud and Dragon Quest are up there. Or like at the top.
I still don't think Tomb Raider for Square Enix, even though they own them since Shadow of the Tomb Raider or something like that, or
something
for a long time.
Sales wise, they're like really high up there. But I mean, as far as like their face, it's like you're putting in at least a Final Fantasy character or Dragon Quest. We're not just throwing in Gino. That's waste of our time. That's why I said Phoenix Wright's like kind of hard because Resident Evil games do come to the Switch, and I think Capcom would rather have a Resident Evil face versus Phoenix Wright.
It's like their number one like thing. Hell yeah. I mean, they just don't feel right. That's the thing with Lara Croft. As soon as you said it,
Lara and like Chris Redfield, they don't feel.
They don't feel right. It's like weird. Snake is pushing it, and it's like, all right, he got in, and I got used to Snake being there, but it's so strange. You're just
he's
I
boys.
Don't think so. If you use if you use the old school like character designs for Resident Evil that are like more cartoony versus now where they're kind of like realistic, I think it would be fine.
Let's hear your crackpot theory.
Anyway,
But and then a crazy one I would want is Agumon, which
I knew it. My guess was
Agumon.
It's Digimon.
It's from Digimon. It's
Digimon like another Pokemon, basically.
Yeah, it's like Pokemon but cooler.
Yeah.
But yeah, Matt, I was gonna say I know the Digimon Cyber Sleuth games, the whole trilogy or 2 games or whatever, just came out on the Switch.
Yeah,
and my random guess for you, I was like, man, this guy's gonna say Chibi Robo because Nintendo can't can that game, and then Sakurai will be like, I see what you guys did there. Then he's gonna steal the coding for it. But Agumon would be really cool. Agumon versus Pikachu is definitely a fantasy scenario.
We got Mario versus Sonic. Now we got to get the other rivals.
Dude, you got to. All right.
Need Digivolve with an energy meter like Lucario. Man,
I,
it'd be
I
great,
always thought
but-
I didn't know anyone takes Digimon seriously. I always thought it was like GoBots to Transformers. Like you're like, yeah, right.
No,
Like,
no,
with
Digimon's
GoBots, like,
it's
a higher tier than that, but it's not. The problem is Pokemon's such a high tier that it's like
it's like
Yeah,
Pokemon eclipses Digimon in terms of like the anime
Everything.
or no, how do I want to word this? Digimon has
media.
like a better story, but Pokemon has like the more
It's
well,
Pokemon.
Pokemon is more successful overall, obviously, but people
Yeah,
like the
but Digimon, you know,
story in
it-
Digimon more. And
it's got cool
Pokemon
designs,
yeah.
good stories. So.
I know. I really never knew anyone pays. I hear of it and I see the games or the logo in my head even, but I always thought it's like GoBots. Like it's literally like knockoff Pokemon. They're just like, yeah, right. Like nobody plays that. Is always
Nah,
my
you know, okay. If you think about it, like timeline wise, it went from like Monster Rancher, and then Monster Rancher kind of existed already in Japan, but not really for us. And then we got Pokemon really kind of first, and then that took off because then Digimon came out like 2 years later, and then it was like, oh, yo, this is wannabe Pokemon, and then it was like, actually, these are pretty dope. Like it's really cool because it was more of a Tamagotchi. That's what Digimon were based off.
Yeah.
It's not capture them all. It was more of like you got one Digimon and that was your Tamagotchi and you took care of it and they would Digivolve. So it wasn't like I have to get them all. It was more like I get the one I want and that's it. But yeah, you know, I like those. I like those. I mean, Smash is Smash, guys. You know, we're gonna like it no matter what. They're gonna come out with Waluigi, and I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I rather had a Goomba with a mustache. But you know,
I like that they don't do it because, like, to me, I'm like, this is silly. Like, this hype is too big. Like, good grief, let it alone. Like,
yeah, I don't like Waluigi at all, man. Like he's stupid.
Gosh.
He's stupid.
He like
sacrilege
memed
of
his way
progress.
into a cult.
Right. Exactly. It's
It's
like,
like, come on, people.
That's a good point. That's a good way of putting it. It's like it memed its way into being the thing people want. Where I'm like, I don't know. I mean, sure, if he gets in, but now the hype is so big, it's almost like I feel that opposite side.
Yeah,
of
he's
it's
gonna
like,
be a disappointment no matter what happens. Even
Yeah.
if he gets in, it's gonna be like yay for one day, and then immediate. Like I feel like it's gonna be like
yeah.
sincere drop off. Nobody's gonna play him, or like they don't care anymore,
Yeah.
and then just gonna go to the next meme thing.
Well, the thing
Yeah, or
is,
he's just-
even
Which is Steve from Minecraft, by the way. He's the backup Waluigi.
gosh, yeah, pretty much.
Jeez.
But yeah, I don't know what people want. People say they want Waluigi, and then I'm like, okay, what do you have to pull from? And they're like, the sports games. I'm like, that's literally like the worst reason to use
Yep.
like as a moveset. One
I was like, I'm
because
pretty sure.
one because literally any other Mario character could use sports,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then
Mhm.
two, Waluigi doesn't even have like he kind of like he has a personality sort of, but he doesn't really have any other identity outside that. Like at least Wario has games and things to pull from,
Right.
Yeah,
but
like no, he has
nothing
no
else.
lore. That's the problem
Yeah.
too. Like,
No
Clay, I
lore.
don't know if how much you know about Waluigi.
Daisy
but-
has more lore in stinking like Super Mario Land because she's like a different
Yeah, Waluigi's
princess.
never been in a game.
That's about it. Yeah,
Like a real
He's
Mario
been in a
game.
He's never starred in a game.
yeah,
He's
No,
had
no,
to be
he's never
specific.
been in a real Mario game. Like,
Sure.
that too.
so like he is not even related to any of them. Like Mario and Wario are cousins. But like Waluigi is just a guy who
You're
dresses like
making an interesting point. Like, oh yeah, I'm thinking through the roster. Yeah, they've all been in a game with Mario. Is exactly your criteria that you're outlining. Like,
yeah.
Other than a sports game.
And not all, I'm not saying he has to star in a game. I'm saying he's never been in a Mario game ever. Like
I mean, he's been in sports games, but I get what you're saying. Like, he's never been in a Mario
Mainline.
Yeah.
mainline series
Like
game.
adventure,
Well, they
yeah.
need to correct that. Then that would legitimize him. Like, then that's my argument. Put him as the villain instead of tired old Bowser every single time. Like,
but they
Pluto.
can't. He's a follower of Wario. That's like his lore. Like he just follows
Right.
Wario.
What, dude? Like, you're saying they can't make up new lore in like 5 seconds for the plot of a Mario
No,
game? Like,
because like they would have to. Then Wario would have to be in the game, and then he's already immediately overshadowed. Like kind of
No.
thing.
They don't have to. Like, Mario games have no story. I mean, they could literally,
It
in
would-
like a 4-second cutscene,
Sure.
be like, Wario ties up, Waluigi ties up Wario, runs off and steals a princess. The end. There's the story.
That's not how it works, especially not now. You didn't play Odyssey. That game has story.
It took them way too long just to introduce someone other than Bowser, and it was like bunnies, and
Yeah,
those
I
didn't
don't
even
know.
like last.
I mean, I was just, I mean to knock early on the next segment, but I was playing
Yeah.
Wario Land Shake It. All the Wario games have a ridiculous amount of story, you know?
Mhm.
Like, compared to especially Mario games, but like Wario games have a lot, and he's more akin to Wario.
I'm saying they could make a story if they wanted to. They could spend the 14 seconds it takes to make up a Mario plot and like stick him in the game and make him the baddie. Like it wouldn't be hard. Like they could do it, and then that could like open the door. Like that, everybody would be like,
Clay, I would know. 14 seconds to make a plot. You've never played Mario Galaxy, then you know what plot is in that game. Okay,
like none. You gotta go like fly around in the spaceship and get the stars. Like it's like not a plot.
What are you talking about?
It's all in the storybook.
The story of Rosalina and the observatory has literally.
You gotta look for it though. It's like background
but
lore.
it's like boring. Like I don't remember anything about it. It's like
a real completionist, all right? Like
I don't know. I did read it. I just feel like it's not really a plot. It's not like a story I care about.
It's like
it doesn't matter. It's still
backstory.
there, all right?
It's more Rosalina than anything else, but even that, it's like once you put something in, like a book or an audio log or whatever, but it's effectively like
Sunshine's
basically
Sunshine's got mystery behind it, like who's Shadow Mario, okay, and all that. You know, your vacation. Where are you?
Sure.
Like,
I agree with that, but I think once you put something in like an audio log or a book or something that you have to find, it basically means nothing because most people aren't going to look for it. So
yeah, I'm with that, Matt. Like if the story, you have to look for the story, then the story is not there.
Yeah.
But what about the situation like Metroid Prime? Because the story, you have to read all that shit to get the story.
No. If you want to know more about the story, you have to do that. Yeah. Metroid Prime has its own story as you go along. And I mean, you're like, you think you're crashing to a barren planet chasing Meta Ridley. Meanwhile, you'll find out more. But if you read the logs and you're like, holy shit, there's way more. That's what Metroid's always been. Metroid's always been about hunting your target and then learning more about the planet and other stuff.
But my point was like most of the stories in the logs. Like, I mean,
yeah. But there is story. No, Matt's saying that Galaxy has no story unless you find those books.
Right. Which is true. I agree with that. Like, so I see. I was just challenging the notion because it's like Metroid's almost in the middle. Like, where it's like, it's like no, they put some of it in the logs and then a lot of it.
It's the same with Halo, if you're going to be honest. I mean, Halo has its cutscenes, but if you want to know more about it, you got to read like those special skulls and logs. You got to find on the side. Otherwise, you'll just know what happens, with your character, with Master Chief.
Like I said, I don't want to jump ahead to the next segment, but Dark Souls is exactly like that. The story is all stuff you have to figure out, but I don't want to jump ahead of that.
Yeah.
My main point was just that most people aren't going to see it, so it might as well. You wouldn't be able to be like, let's say Waluigi appears for like 2 seconds in a Mario game, but there's like a whole. But let's put it this way: in Paper Mario, there's like Luigi's whole adventures or whatever. But
1,000 Year Door, I love those, dude.
Yeah, or in the original game too.
But it's
like
story
those
games.
The journal thing. Yeah, you have to go find. Yeah.
Sorry. There's a journal or whatever you find underneath your house that is of Luigi on his adventures, but like that doesn't really add to his story. Like they don't use that as part of his lore later because like no one's really gonna see. I mean, you're more likely to see it, but
I think they do. That kind of introduces Luigi as the scaredy cat. Isn't that where that comes from?
No, it just builds character. But the thing is, like Matt says, you have to go literally back to Mario's house, do a ground pound, and do it after every chapter to get more stuff from it.
Anyway, point being, since most people won't see it, then there's no point in like referring back to it in any like significant way because it's not like most people are gonna get it. So it's not like if they put like a story of Waluigi in like some hidden book in a Mario game, and then they're like, Waluigi's in Smash, and we based off of this thing that like almost no one read. It's like, okay, that's not gonna like matter to most people, so it's not gonna make an impact, right? That's all.
Well, that's what I'm not even saying. Yeah, that's why I'm saying like I'm just thinking of like
you'd
the
have
way
to do
most
more than that, pretty much.
Yeah, more than that.
Yeah.
More than that. Like, make him be the hero. Just the same way Bowser doesn't really have a story. Bowser comes in and kidnaps the princess, and that's the fucking...
No, Bowser has a character, man. I mean, you don't play a lot of the Mario side games, but Bowser's a funny guy, dude. Like, Bowser's inside story really developed Bowser's character. Mm-hmm. All the Mario or Luigi RPG games give him, they give him a lot of life. And that's the thing, people in the main Mario, you just see him as this evil guy, but he's funny. Like, Bowser's a funny character.
And the ads kind of show that too.
Mhm. Oh yeah, the sports.
It
game
kind of
kinda
like,
show.
well, I mean, just like the parental ads and things too are kind of
Oh
fun.
yeah,
But
that,
yeah, like that eventually bleeds into the character and like builds it up.
And he's had a
But
he's had a
it's
lot
over
of
a long
time to build
time.
up that reservoir of story. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
That's
the bottom
true.
line.
Yeah, he's been around. The block.
Waluigi, all I'm saying is they could start somewhere, and all
Yeah,
they
they
need
have
to do
to
is give
do
him
something.
a little bit of a story in like one of the games, and then it would feel more legit when he gets in Smash. Like
Yeah.
if they made him have a
He's
role.
already in. He's an assist. He'll never get higher than
Right.
that.
Yeah, he will. Yeah, he will. That's crazy talk. He's getting in for sure. He's probably getting in this round. I'll go that far.
Oh my
and say
we're
gosh.
that.
getting
He's-
Paper
Imagine if
Mario
that's the
over
one
Waluigi.
Nintendo
Keep
character
calling
they
it,
add,
boys.
freaking Waluigi.
Yeah, we're
Uh,
getting Paper Mario.
I feel like he's going to get in this round because they will save him for 5th or something like that, and be like, or 6th, and be like, yeah.
Yeah, Waluigi's not in Fire Emblem. He's not going to be the last character. Okay?
All right. Matt's sick of this. Matt, what other news do we got to
Gosh.
talk about?
That was pretty much it. I was gonna say, I kind of think Byleth looks cheap with all the moves they were saying. Like, oh, this move has super armor, and if he Falcon punched at the same time, like he'd die, and
Right.
like he has super range, and I forget exactly. Mike would know more, but I'm like, man, how many more? Like, does this character have any downfalls? Like, this seems
He's
pretty
slow.
cheap. Is he?
They were saying like the opposite almost. He was saying like he's got that big wind up on his like super reflect or whatever you guys call it, like counter. But they're like warning you, like it's so powerful that most of the time you're gonna, like, a newbie like me is gonna wind up on it, and the other person's gonna be like, haha, you're an idiot. I can see this coming.
the charge
20
charge
frames
time
away.
is very
Yeah.
slow. Like
But-
that's his thing. It seems he has slow attacks, and he's like kind of slow in the air. So that's like his
So he
downfall.
doesn't-
He seems very
he-
like powerful though.
He seems powerful, but he's got a huge flaw, especially for noobs. Because, like, for me, that's my experience when I go online. 1 out of 3 matches is me winning, and 2 out of 3 matches is someone who can clearly tell what I am going to do 10 seconds before I do it. Like, and every move is just like they
And not
know
just
it's
because of the leg, right?
yeah, not because
The
of
lag,
lag.
yeah. Good call,
Not
Matt.
lag lately. I've actually been having good matches lately. Report from the field, anecdotally. Like, I haven't had a lot of lag lately. I've been having relatively good matches when I jump on. Like,
Oh, that's good
pretty
to
lag.
hear.
Nice.
pretty lag free overall. Like, I'd say, like,
Oh,
just
that's
playing
good, that's
randos
good.
or whatever. You know, but like, yeah, I always have that experience of like, I think I have a big trick, and then I find out these people have played so much more Smash than me that my big trick is like newbie 101 baby steps, and they just whack me around every single time. And it's just like that would be me with a character like this. It's like, I'm gonna hit you with my big hit, and they're just like standing there bored. Like, I will just literally stand here and let you beat yourself, idiot. You know, so you know, not that I'll
I
ever
feel
play
that.
Byleth, probably never play Byleth ever in my life, but we'll see. So,
Sure. How you play Odyssey and Banjo before you played
I'll
Byleth?
get to it.
Yeah.
I'll get to it.
Sure.
All right. So
All
what
right,
else, Matt? What do you want to talk? Matt, what have you been playing?
Luigi's Mansion 3.
All right. Yeah. I don't know how much too longer we want to go.
Okay. All right.
but-
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Before I answer that or whatever, Mike, did you say you wanted to say something?
Oh no, I just wanted to talk about which games I were. Rock, paper, scissors. Who goes? I had Rock out, so.
You can go.
All right. So, yeah, what I was gonna say now. Thanks for reminding me, Matt, of what I wanted to do. So I was gonna tell you guys I'm doing a cool series for 2020. I call it the Ultimate Gamer Challenge. I'm going to play all these series, like these games, like Mega Man and Star Fox. I'm gonna play every game in the series and rate them. So like, because I missed a lot of, like, I missed a few games. So like.
Sure.
Currently, I just finished Phantom Hourglass, but I never played Spirit Tracks. So these are the only 2 Zelda games I never played and finished. So my goal is to like look at the mainline series games and kind of fill out those grays. So
Nice.
like I did all Star Fox like 2 weeks ago,
Nice.
and then I
Did
did
you
I
even
fit.
Star Fox Planet, like the one that's the Dinosaur Planet game?
Yeah, Star Fox Adventures. Yeah, that game's terrible.
I never played it yet. I can't wait. I
Yeah,
never
don't
played
do
that.
I did that. I did Mega Man 1 through 11.
Nice. Yeah, I saw someone
Damn.
else review like 1 through 11. I'm like, geez, and he like put his videos out like a day each from each other. I think it was
Oh,
like
yeah,
leading
I-
up to
I-
Christmas. Like
doing
holy
it
crap,
along,
dude!
and I was-
And they were like 30 minutes or something too. Jeez.
Yeah, it's hard because like you want to talk about this, like it's in my opinion it's strange because like I'm thinking about like Mega Man like 1 through 3 or 1 through 6. I'm like,
Mhm.
man, there's not much I want to say between 1 and 2, but then like for 4 and 5, I want to talk like forever about it. So I just thought it was like a cool idea I was trying to do. Like, I mean, I was like at a point where I was like, couldn't find a game to play.
Are you doing this in a public forum or just doing this for yourself, like on Twitter?
I'm gonna make it public. I actually just wrote like the whole script for the Star Fox one. Spoiler: the Dinosaur Planet one, the Adventure's dead last on my list, but as the worst Star Fox game. But there's some games, people were like, oh, you gotta play Assault, you gotta do Command. So like, I've been. No, Assault, Star Fox Assault, Star Fox Command. So like, it's just people I talk to, things I look up. So.
And where will people see this when you put it out? YouTube?
It'll be on my channel, or my website. It'll be like on my YouTube, or it'll be literally on my name.com. So michaeltroyan.com. I'll put them out. I'll share them with you guys.
I'm gonna pull teeth right here for the listeners. And where would that be? Like, tell me.
Yeah, just look at Game Men. Just look it up. Game Men, literally. Okay.
Look up Gay Man on the internet.
Yeah, Game Man. You can also look up SMB Gaming 64. I own both. Hot links or SEOs. But yeah, so I'm kind of excited for it. I mean, I picked up a few Switch games I don't think I'm going to play right now. I got Dragon Quest 11 and the new Tokyo Mirage, whatever, new old game. But I'm excited to do this. I'm also, I decided to play a little bit of a ROM hack because I was like, let me do this for the first time ever. So I played this game, Super Mario 64 Land. Really cool. ROM hacks aren't really my favorite thing, I've come to realize.
Right.
Like, some of them are really good. Some of them are kind of trash, but yeah, overall, it just makes me kind of want to play the original, or like, okay, I've already had enough of the original, and this is just like half a DLC for me. But I'm just trying to think if there was anything else. But no, yeah, it's kind of cool because I've been just going back to old systems, so I'll play them on the DS, or I'll play them on on a GameCube, and then that's also why I was talking about Retro Arc earlier, because I was like, okay, for the ones I can't get, so for like Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, I tried to play on my DS, and I absolutely hate those games because it's all touchscreen controls. But, as I went around, I found, people made mods for it or patches for it where you could use a controller. And I was like, cool. Thank God, I could finally play this game like a normal human, But granted, it's going to affect the score overall. I'm not going to say just because I had a good time with it with a modded version, with a patched version with controls, doesn't make it better than something else. I had to go out of my way to make it better. But it doesn't take away the experience. It just takes away the rating from it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That is weird. Like, I never thought about that, like playing a DS game without the very prominently featured touchscreen features of it. Like, that's an
I never liked see, my opinion, I don't like when games force you to use the gimmick. I like if it's an option, So for me, if the menus are all touchscreen, that's cool. But if I'm playing a Zelda game and I have to keep tapping, and I have to tap the stylus to attack and swipe it. I'm like, dude, I can't get it. I was uncomfortable. Okay, like I was like, what's the point of handheld gaming if I'm not comfortable in my own couch or bed playing it? So,
fair, interesting. Yeah, like because Spirit Tracks, I really got bored of real quick. I thought that one was like really boring game. I never finished it. Like,
that was me with Phantom Hourglass, and I just finished it yesterday, and I was like, oh, this is a lot better than this game. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I played with regular controls.
Interesting. That's cool. That sounds like a great series. We'll keep hyping it on here.
Yeah, definitely.
Drop links and stuff for people.
I will. The Mega Man one will be like in 2 weeks when I make the video, but the Star Fox one is basically done. So
nice.
Love it. Some of the greatest series ever. So
yeah, man. So I'm excited for it. I'm like, hopefully, and like since Final Fantasy got delayed, I have more time now because there's nothing like this out.
That was crazy. Stinking Final Fantasy, was Marvel's Avengers, and then Cyberpunk 2077 within a week, all delayed. And like 2 of those games, no, it was all 3 of them I had pre-ordered, but like I was all like, oh man, this all these games are coming in like March and April, and it's like now pushed to like April and September. It's like, I feel like, better now. Like I've got room to play.
I the same thing. I'm like, okay, now I don't need to play a billion games in a billion hours. So
welcome to modern gaming,
I'm
you're excited for delays.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like,
modern gaming, like, yo, man, another 2-month delay. Let's go.
I was honestly
back. Oh my God.
I was honestly thinking about it too before, because I'm like, man, I'm just catching up on my backlog now. I got Luigi's Mansion almost done. I just bought the stinking 2 Gunvolt games, and then I have Borderlands 3. And I'm like, I want some time I need some time to like
Yeah.
catch up on these, and then like
Yo,
all
they
these
heard
things are
you, bro.
delayed.
They heard you.
Oh man, I'm
Yeah.
glad I bought PS Plus, like the physical card or whatever, rather than like directly to my account, because I was only buying that for it was on sale, and I only bought it because of Marvel, because it's online and they're gonna keep adding characters. Like,
Okay.
fine, I'll get it for a year, and then they delay it like a couple of days later. I'm like, man, I'm glad I didn't buy that on the store, because then it would have started now, and by the time
Oh yeah,
like, the
you're
game
right. I
comes
didn't
out,
think
it would
about
be
that.
over. It'd be a waste.
Good call,
Jeez.
man. You know, I'm gonna start buying PlayStation Plus cards physical again because of
Yeah.
that. Good
I
call.
didn't. I just wanted the code, and Walmart said it would give me the digital code, and then I would just store it. And it's like, nope, it's shipping. I'm like, all right, if you want to waste money on postage for that, go ahead.
Nice.
But,
All right, man. You
Yeah.
go. I know you've
Um,
been playing Weegee. So.
yeah. So before I want to say that, do want to say, like Mike, I'm also working on stuff. Finally, I'm going to relaunch. I did translation videos or narration videos, whatever, for Source Gaming, literally like a year ago, and things happened, jobs and whatever, things got delayed.
Stuff
Anyway,
happened.
I'm doing it again. It's actually starting tomorrow, so I'm gonna try to make it a weekly thing. I got a bunch backed up, so that I can like make some while still putting some out. So if you don't like reading and you just like listening to things, check it out. And I also say that because like one of the comments, I should have pinned it, but I saved it, and it's in like the intro, which is funny. Someone's like, I like this because I like to hear someone speak or read this to me, and like I like it because it does this and this. And one of the other guys is like, I like this because I hate reading.
Yeah.
And I'm
A lot of people
like
do
putting
these
in the
days.
intro, and I'm like, thanks to you,
So now-
Mister.
So
Yeah.
now clarify, what are these translation videos
Sorry.
exactly?
Yeah, so
what is it?
Source Gaming translates Famitsu articles, which are Japanese
Right.
articles that
Right.
Sakurai writes in the Famitsu column.
Right.
And then I'm basically just taking those and just reading them aloud. So if you don't feel like reading them,
Nice.
then there's an
That's
audio
excellent.
version you can just put on the background. They're usually like 3 to 4 minutes, so they're not that long.
I actually am super
Yeah.
excited for that because like those, I love those articles, and yeah, it's just so much content these days that it could be something I could listen to while I'm just sitting here working on stuff or whatever. That's a great idea. Super cool. Nice.
So yeah.
You have you considered? Maybe someone's already done it, but Awada Asks is another like realm where that I find like I wish I had time to read and watch all those Awada Asks, and like a verbal translation of those could be another project for someday, like to listen to, because I find those to be riveting as well.
Maybe.
So I don't know if someone's already done it,
I
but they're
don't think so.
those are the same vein for me,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, I wish I could get to all this stuff that's out there and all these really creative, interesting people and hear all the stuff they had to say, So
That is
maybe-
interesting. Some of the articles they do have are like someone interviewing someone else as well. My only problem with that is one, it might be difficult to differentiate between two different people if it's just me. And the second thing is that I can't act for garbage, so it might just come off boring rather than like hearing one person read one person's thoughts.
I see what you're saying.
So
Well, if you ever want
plus,
to get a project started, maybe I'd have time. You'd have to talk to me, but who knows? So
yeah, the only,
I could just do.
I was
I
gonna
could do
say-
the clips. I could do the interview clips.
yeah.
But yeah.
The
Go on.
third problem I would say is that they're a lot longer. The
they are.
Sakurai's columns are like I said, only like 3 minutes or so
Gotcha.
as far as like video time, whereas the Awada Asks ones are probably like a lot
Yeah.
longer.
They are very
So-
long. That's part of the problem why I've never got through many of them, because it's just like there's so much information there. It's just like,
Yeah,
wow, this guy is a genius and he loves to like sit and rap and give all the dirt, and that's where so much awesome dirt comes from, when you get into the weeds with those old columns or whatever. So
Mhm.
anyway, great idea, Matt. That's cool. So people would find this on Source Gaming.
yeah. Their YouTube channel, Source Gaming. They have a website too. I don't know if it'll be posted there, but obviously it's a video, so just go watch it on the channel. And I'll retweet it, and then obviously their Twitter will retweet as well. Hopefully, I'm launching it at like my lunchtime, and I don't know if I'll have access to the Twitter account by then or if someone else will be able to post it, but I'll at least
Gotcha.
retweet it. So,
That's great. It sounds like a cool project, man.
well, thank you.
Awesome. What else have you been
yeah.
playing? You've been playing Weegee Squeegee.
Yeah, Weegee Squeegee. I finished Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I forget how far it was the last time I played it. I thought it was good, but there's just way too many glitches for it not to get like a markdown. I forget some of the scores. Some people were saying like, I think some reviews at least were saying like, this is the best Star Wars game, and I'm like, no, let's just stop right there. It is fun, and I do like it, but and I would say part of the problem is me not being used to the Dark Souls mechanic where you have to like be more precise and hold back. When I play like action games, I'm very on the offense, especially like Smash. So I just have to like maybe I should have started harder to like. Yeah. I mean, I'll dodge and do the other stuff, but I'm just so used to action attacks. But regardless of my poor playstyle, I think there's just too many like glitches and things that happen for you to not take a point off. And the funny thing was, I was playing on so they kept updating the game, and I was on like the 5th version, and it was still having like problems. I'm like, come on, this is not acceptable. And I think it also updated in the middle of my playthrough, and the other day when I was like booting up my PlayStation for something else.
Wait, what problems were you having with Luigi's Mansion?
No, Star Wars.
Oh, it's Star Wars. I was gonna say, I was
yeah.
Oh, okay. My B.
No glitches in Nintendo games.
I heard Luigi, and I'm all like, I was on 1.00, and it was pretty good. But that sucks that you're getting glitches with Star Wars, man. Like,
it's.
I mean, I only saw the donkey video, and like that was like the LOL video for a while for me of like watching the glitches in that game, like when he's just like playing through, and it's just like hilarious. Like the way the AI behaves is so ridiculous.
This is the Fallen Order, right, or whatever. Yeah. That was on my list to play, but like I don't know. I'm like half in it, and Star Wars 9 was kind of bad, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to play it that much, but. Yeah, that sucks that you're having these problems. How do you like the game though, versus because even though with the glitches, besides the glitches,
it luckily wasn't like. I don't like how reviewers only consider it a problem if something is game breaking, because then you're just going to lower your expectations, and then everyone is just going to let everything slide through. But luckily, nothing really like busted the game. Sometimes there were points where I'm like, I saved at this point, and then I load the game the next day, and it's like the save point before. I'm like, I hate you. Now I got to go through this again. But other than those, I enjoyed the game. Crap, I was going to say. I forget. It's been a while. So used to playing Luigi's Mansion. Reflecting blasters.
Very stylish.
Yeah, it's more not laid back, but you have to be more precise with your movements, because then they're going to counter and kick the crap out of you, or if you'll attack and you just won't hit them and they'll block it. Same with some of your force moves. Some of them will be able to block it, like jam their lightsaber in the ground and not be blown away or things like that. So there's certain times where you have to time things, but it's not like Force Awakens where it's just an action game. There's like I said, dodging and more, I guess, precision or whatever involved. So I would say it's worth a shot. Maybe wait for a sale or something, but still fun going through.
You played it on PlayStation?
Yeah. And also reflecting blaster bolts is like one of the most fun, simple but fun things you can do, because once you hear the sound, you press the button and it'll reflect like right back at them and kill them, usually in 1 or 2 hits. It's just it's like no other game really has that. It's a specifically like Star Wars thing. It just feels so good to do.
The only experience I have with the game is the donkey video, and like I thought you couldn't do it because he was having trouble doing it. And it was like really funny because he was getting. There's literally a part of the video where he tries to do it, and he goes, "Oh, I guess you can't do that in this game," and I didn't know you could because of that.
You could. It takes some time. It takes getting used to when you first like play the game, just getting the timing of it. But you can usually do it later.
That's awesome. So it looked very stylish. It looked really cool, but then I heard about the glitches from multiple sources, and I was like, wow, that's too bad. Like that, I mean, I'm in a weird place. I grew up with Star Wars, was as big a fan as you can be, as everyone is, and then even as someone who I can defend the prequel trilogy, I will gladly defend it. because like now I'm realizing I'm done because like Star Wars 7 through 9 just are like so meh to me.
Mhm.
They're not terrible, they're just meh. And I realized like I'm done, sorta. Like 9
Yeah.
was a very disappointing experience to me to feel like I feel nothing for this. It was
Yeah.
like the reaction, you know, like that feeling of like I just don't feel anything. Fine, whatever, Star Wars, you know, like, but, and so like then I have that weird feeling toward the games too, where it's like that game looks really stylish and beautiful when I saw like video of it, and I'm like, but do I really want to play a Star Wars game? Because I feel like I'm checked out. Like there's that weird emotional reaction to it that I'm like, I don't even know if I care, like kind of, or something. It's hard to put into words, but I'm struggling with it. It's like I feel like I'm like done for now, at least, because I should stop putting my emotions into it, because it's just keeps making me feel like kind of like let down or something on some level. It's just like, okay, whatever, you know, like. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say anything about 9 too much because I know there's listeners that might not have seen it yet, and
Sure.
like, and you know, whatever. But it was like okay, you know. But you know, the game looked really cool.
Yeah,
Like,
it is
how
really
long of
fun.
an experience is it? How big of an experience is it? Like hours, hundreds of hours, like 40
Not
hours?
hundreds, because each you go. There's a couple of planets, and you go back several times, and then I guess they're kind of big. It's like Metroid, where it's like you go through all these different paths and find more paths and different branching paths.
Yeah.
I forget if there was a timer on it or not, because it's either some games don't post how long you've played it, or just all of them. I forget.
Right.
But it's probably like between 10 and 20 hours.
Right.
And then you can obviously make it longer if you search for other stuff, but I wouldn't say it's worth it because they're just like hilt cosmetics that you're not going to see anyway, so it's not worth it.
Sure.
But yeah, it's worth a romp.
Neat. Good stuff. Wow, that's good. Anything else?
Yes, I played Weegee Squeegee.
Yeah. Yes, you
For
did.
listeners, Unoclay was talking to me on Skype, and I'm like, he's like, "Do you want to do this?" I'm like, I'm playing Weegee Squeegee.
Let's be specific.
Right.
For the
yes.
100th time, I was challenged to fight me in Smash, and you had an excuse, because let's call it out, listeners. Matt's afraid to face me in Smash. Let's just call it. It's like Matt's afraid to face me, and I'm not even good, listeners. Hit me up. Hit me up on Twitter. You can find out. It's more that
I don't. I guess.
Yeah, he's scared. He's going to make excuses, tell us about how he's out of practice and this and that. But what it is Matt is afraid that his sacred Pikachu is going to take a dive, a hard dive, and he doesn't want to face the facts. That's all it is. This is some low-level, shitty Smash Brothers shit talk right here.
You're not totally
every
wrong.
Time, something else,
okay.
Every time.
To at least say the other part of it is I'm very insular, and I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm I'm committing to do this, and then like someone wants to. I don't like unexpected plans. Like, it reminds me of work when it's like someone calls you. It's like, can you come in? I'm like, no, I already planned in my mind that I'm not doing this. Go away. Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, I want to play Luigi's Mansion. So it's not specifically, it's not always a you thing. It's also a me thing. Well, I guess both of it is a me thing because I don't want to be, I'm clearly a sore loser.
Right. We'll just let you hang on to your imaginary victories with Pikachu. You know, like let you keep that. Like Mike is like listening to two of the world's like lowest level Smash Brothers players.
He's like, wow, two babies are crying to each other. He's like, two babies are crying how bad they are to each other. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. Reggie said it best. Just settle it in Smash, man. You don't talk any words at all.
I would, Mike. I would. I just got to get him to show up. I don't know.
Gosh. In person.
Yeah, anyway,
let's do it with no leg.
Busted balls.
Yeah. They deserve to be busted.
I need a redemption. I need to fight somebody that's like closer to my level than all the people I play online, where it's like just like 4 out of 5 is a humiliating experience that makes you feel like suicide might be better than this.
If it makes you feel better, I haven't really played online for that reason too.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to just get murdered and not have fun.
Yeah, but I'm trying to keep my skills up, and I'm trying to finish all the classic mode characters. So I got to play somebody like occasionally to test the waters, you know, where it's like I got to get off the playing the AI and go like, even though everybody on the planet 9 out of 10 are better than me at Smash, it's like there's that one guy where I could
Just
beat
drop
on them.
Smash and play Odyssey, damn it. Forget your damn
Yeah.
classic mode and play
Yeah, do it.
Odyssey.
I'm gonna do it. I'm looking forward to it. No rush, man. No rush. It's going to be 5 more years till we get into the 3D Mario, so I'm
Oh my
not in any
gosh.
rush. You know, it's like I definitely can't even wait, and at the same time, I can wait. You know, I love that you're bothered by it though. This is going to be like a Waluigi thing. I'm just going to keep holding out.
Gosh. Oh, one last thing I forgot to mention about Star Wars. Don't expect much for the story. It's not really the main character's story, which is dumb and a bummer. It's like
Right.
the other character's story. It's like, I want to do this, and you should do it too. And he's like, all right, I guess. It's like, oh, well, I don't know why you decided on that for a premise, but all right. Anyway, I don't want to talk on that longer. Yeah, I've been playing Weegee Squeegee. Yeah, the joke behind that was Unoclay's like, hey, you want to play Smash? And I'm like, playing Weegee Squeegee. He's like, what the heck is that? I'm like, Luigi's Mansion. But
yeah, I was like, I thought I was like wasted or something. I'm like sitting here, like I don't know what that game is that he's talking about. Is it the new hot thing the kids are all playing, the Squeegee game? I got to get this on my phone or Android device as soon as possible. He's playing the hot new game, and I'm like, oh, it's Luigi's Mansion, another game I hope to get to someday. But apparently, I shouldn't play Luigi's Mansion when I've had a lot of drinks because I don't even have a vacuum of ghost anymore. I'm just pathetic. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know. I like it, but it's also kind of disappointing. So before, at like an E3 event, I think they were saying like, "Hey, we're listening to fans on this, this, and this." I forget they listed multiple things, but the two I remember most was Portrait Ghosts, which are just like unique designs for ghosts, like for the bosses versus in Dark Moon, the second one on the 3DS. It was just like, here's a spider and here's another random like monster, and or here's a bland looking ghost, and it just wasn't great. And then the other one was like in the last game we had multiple mansions, and we heard you want to explore, you want one mansion to explore, and it's like, great, it sounds great. Then play the game. The first hour or two, I think there's a few floors you can go in between. But the problem is, outside of that, like, you really can't explore. It's just like, here's the next floor, and you go to that, and that's basically, the floor is its own level. And then you get another elevator button, and it's like, you do that one, and that's basically its own level. You don't actually get to explore
it. Doesn't feel like one mansion.
No, because
it still feels like
everything is
mansions.
closed off. So it's like, sure, you put it all in one mansion, but it's not any different. Because it's like you're still stuck to the one floor. Because there's not much to explore in like the first. I forget in the beginning of the game. It's like it's like the lobby, the basement, and like the first floor. I think are open and you can go in between. But there's not much in there anyway. It's just like the starting portion of the game. So it doesn't
that's
really
the most
count.
mansion-like thing, about it. Because like you said, like, you go to, I'm in the 6th floor, and it's like, well, it's the plant floor, and that's all you're allowed to do is this level. And instead of going like, oh, okay, I got this, I might backtrack and find this ghost. It's like, you're in one area, but you're in one building, but you're only in one area. So you are right about that. It's kind of like, that's what I was telling people. I'm like, it's like, I don't know. It's like Luigi's Mansion 1.5. It's not Dark Moon, and it's not Luigi 1. Like, I mean, the game's fun, but it's not amazing.
Yeah. And then, like, the levels are so well lit that there's no point into the flashlight. It's like, you can see everything. Like, okay, he's not even in the dark, really. And then the other thing I thought was odd was, I'm fine that they added co-op. I think that's neat. But they clearly specifically made the game for co-op, because some of the bosses, you need it. And it can be annoying if it's like, you have to have Luigi go on one side of the level, and then you're on the other side, but Luigi has like a quarter of Luigi's health, and also if he goes in the water, he's dead. So, or he can easily die. So it's like kind of annoying to like try to go back and forth, because you can only control one at a time on one controller, unless you decide to hook up another controller and do both. So that's kind of annoying, but I mean, you can get through it. It's just weird.
It does not have online support, correct? It's all local co-op.
Yeah, it has multiplayer, and they're adding DLC, which is weird, but
I want to play it eventually. I'll probably have a better reaction than it to you, and I only say that because like I think I have lower expectations. Like I think I'm like I kind of just like expect whatever from that whole series and
Yeah.
I just kind of enjoy the atmosphere of it and don't care as much because I can tell how much Mike cared about it, how he was like instantly like doesn't like Dark Moon that much and thinks 1 is so good, and it's like the level of Mike's passion tells me a lot, and then your reaction now tells me a lot. Where it's like, to me, I've never taken them as seriously, and therefore I just kind of like them pretty much. In fact, I
Well,
like
one
both
set
of
the
them.
bar
I think
is
it's-
so high. Like that's the thing. It's like it was such a like kind of a unique twist where it was funny and horror, and then like 2 kind of felt more like adventure comedy, and the ghosts got their designs were bad, and it just didn't have that same spook. Like it felt like a good spoof on Resident Evil, the first one, and then now it became like a goofy adventure game with ghosts.
I hope it's not a case of we could call it the Yoshi's Island phenomenon, where it's like Yoshi got one incredibly good game, and then lots of like middling sequels forever, like period, and they'll never touch the sky again. Now, I disagree fundamentally, actually, like, and we've talked about this before, and we've been going for 2 hours here, so listeners are probably dropping like flies at this point. But like, I fundamentally disagree. I actually think Luigi's Mansion 2 is just in every way superior, and we've debated about it before, and I know you disagree, and I respect that. I just always like, it's what I was kind of saying before. It's like, I can tell you kind of care more about it, so I respect your difference on that. To me, it was just like, oh, Luigi's Mansion 2. It's all Luigi's Mansion 1, just better. Like, it's just a bigger version of it. And I know you hate that opinion and think it's wrong, and I respect that. It's just like, I think that's why I'll like 3 when I get around to playing eventually, because I don't really expect anything other than just more of the same. I'm just like, yeah, Luigi's Mansion. You're going to walk around, you're going to shoot that flashlight, and somehow you're going to catch ghosts. Just don't drink before you try to do it, or you won't know what you're doing, and you won't be able to do it. So, like, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of like, it's certainly disappointing to hear that you guys are like so meh on it, but I'll get to it eventually and like it. I hope I find time for it ever, if my backlog ever like allows me to play any more games. It's just ridiculous.
It's a decent
Get to it
game. I
eventually.
think it's just a bit disappointing because, like, game design wise, it was better
It wasn't
before.
Revolution.
I wouldn't even say Revolution. I would just say like the first one was just designed better.
Yeah,
But
gotcha.
I mean, look, I don't mind the little upgrades that he got in Luigi's Mansion 2. Like, I always thought the multiple ghosts kind of, the easier way to get multiple ghosts in the Surge was kind of cool. But again, it's the first one. It's not just like the simplicity. There's just something about it. It just makes it the best one.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
All right, Clay. I know it's been 2 hours, but we do want to hear your adventures of Dark Souls, man. So.
Matt, were you finished?
yeah, I'm good.
I mean, like, yeah, it's been 2 hours. Like, I don't have a lot to say. I played a ton of games since we spoke last. The big victory is I finished Dark Souls about 110 hours with only once having to look something up online.
Nice.
And it was specifically because there's a pathway at one point you have to walk on, and it wasn't obvious that it was a pathway, and I was going around in circles for like more than 10 hours, probably, like in the game, like walking around trying to figure out where to go next. Because Dark Souls, for those who haven't played a game that's like 8 years old, is a lot about the mystery and figuring it out yourself, and it's a very difficult action RPG. And so part of it is solving puzzles that are very mysterious, that aren't even obviously puzzles, like figuring out where to go, or like, most of the time the game is so well designed that you find out where to go without having to look something up. Eventually you'll come upon a clue, or you'll remember something, or you'll go back to this area to search it again, and you'll see like something that gives you a clue of where to go next or who to go see or whatever. But I was just stuck. I had to look something up one time that was like, I could tell I was losing interest in the game. And then from there on out, Dark Souls is as legendary as you've heard. There have been mountains, there have been forests of virtual trees cut down to talk about the game. I'm not going to say anything new that hasn't been said before. Now I'm in New Game Plus, and it's just as addictive, because it is. If you want any spoilers for Dark Souls, then stop listening here. I'm going to say 1 or 2 things, like but very light spoilers. The New Game Plus is the kind of New Game Plus where you start with all your weapons and your XP, and your character is intact, but the game geniusly starts over fresh. And at first it's super like that satisfying RPG experience of like where you're like super powerful and all the enemies are low level and you can just like crush through shit that used to like give you trouble, and just like now you've got a full armament. You've got like all your cool ass weapons. You got everything you earned like over like the 100 hours you just played. So it's super fun. But then, and I'm not even that far into it yet, the game mysteriously starts to scale up like to the level you're at again. So the new game plus is no longer just like a you know, a victory lap where you're just like crushing through everything. All of a sudden you start to notice like the enemies are getting stronger and you can't screw around with them anymore. And actually now they're giving you the right amount of XP for like the level you're at. You're actually earning like high XP for relatively low enemies. And then you find yourself dying. And what I think is happening, and the game again is super mysterious and super legendary for these reasons. I think what's happening is that there's going to be new content in the new game plus, or the fact that like it's going to get so impossibly difficult, it's going to be like playing the game again, just like the first time where it was impossibly difficult. Only now it's even bigger of a challenge because you actually have all your weapons and all your items already. So it's like throwing it in your face. It's like, all right, you think you're good, you've got everything you earned, now do it, like do it again, like, and show us how good you are now that you know how to play the game and you know all the surprises or whatever. So it's just all around. You know, I think some website just called it one of the games of the decade or the game of the decade recently. And I don't know about all that, but like if you ever liked Monster Hunter or you ever liked action RPGs and you have a little bit of a masochistic streak where you're willing to like dig into a game that's like hard as hell at first. The funny thing is like, and the last thing I'll say on Dark Souls is like the funny thing now that I finished it, my friends that have finished it already can talk to me about it. One of the number one things I've noticed people say is, see, it wasn't as hard as you thought. And the funniest thing is I can almost agree. It's like Dark Souls gets a reputation for being one of the hardest games ever in a modern console. But once you put the time into it, it's not like a game you can't master. It in fact, that's why it's so beloved, is because you can get so good at it that you just feel like the ultimate gaming experience of a game where you're like, if you put the time in, the game rewards you with like just the most ultimate victories you ever got in a game where you're like, you thought you could never do this and you just put the time in and figure it out and like grind a little bit. There is grinding, which is usually something I'm allergic to, but it's not bad enough to push you away. It's like actually like you realize if I grind for like maybe a half hour and earn like enough experience to like upgrade one of my stats, I might be able to finish this boss that is just like, you know, some towering monster that like, you know, you think you could never ever beat, that the first time you encountered it, it killed you in one hit. And you're like, wow, it's I could talk for hours about it, but everyone else already has. So late to the party, but recommended. You know.
Yeah. Congrats, man. That's a big accomplishment. Proud you got it done.
Yeah, nice.
One of my friends is like, now I'm going to loan you an Xbox so you can play Dark Souls 2, and I'm like, yeah, in a year. Give me like a year. It's like I'm like no, like because everyone says Dark Souls 2. A lot of people say it's the best in the series so far. Everyone's like, Souls 1 is where it starts, and then Souls 2.
Yeah, I've always heard 2, and I think 3 is the easiest from what I've heard. So.
Yeah, and I heard you need like really powerful hardware, like on a PC to play it, or I guess it's on Xbox or whatever. I don't really know.
But hey, man, you got it done. You got the. See, I like I said, I've never. The one thing I don't like about the game is, it just, in my opinion, it makes itself hard on purpose in the beginning, but at the same time, like it's like, so I think it's unoriginal, like hardness. Like, you know, I always complain about this. Like, if all those guys who beat Dark Souls, I'll give them a real Dark Souls. I'll put Lion King on the Super Nintendo on, and then they'll let them go home crying. Real
so
mess.
It's such a funny comparison. What were you gonna say, Matt?
I was gonna say what's so funny about that is that my mom saw those like retro consoles that you can hook up to the TV, like the plug and play ones, and she saw like, oh, this one's 50 games and this one's 100 and blah blah blah. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. She's like, I bought it for the grandkids. I'm like, that's nice. And she's like, I bought it because I saw Aladdin and Lion King on there. I'm like, oh my gosh, you have no idea what you put them through.
Good luck. Good luck. Yeah, Super Star Wars up next. Oh yeah, you're gonna have a great time.
I never beat the first one, but I did beat Super Empire Strikes Back and Super Return of the Jedi.
Wow, they are hard games. I mean, the difference is like I said, I'm not going to talk about it. The funny thing is, you know, I play old games, and I'm well aware of what you're talking about with the difficulty there. The difference is like, if there's a lot to be said about this, so I won't say it all. But the difference is about the artificiality of the hardness you're talking about. Part of it is forcing you to grind so that you upgrade. So I understand you're kind of like, that's a little artificial of them. It's like, yeah, but genuinely, Matt put it really well. I don't know if you heard this somewhere else, Matt, or if this is like common news, but I had never thought of it this way. Dark Souls is a lot like being a samurai game where like combat is not meant to be grindy. I mean, punching your buttons at all. It's the opposite. It's like a samurai fight where like every single encounter from low level to the end of the game is like a samurai fight where you have to think. You can't bum rush. You cannot mash buttons. The best way to die is to mash a button even once. Like, don't mash, think. And like that's what the opening part of the game is so hard, because you have to learn it, and the game forces you to learn it. Either you learn it or you get the fuck out. That's the game's attitude at the beginning, because it's like, yeah, you're gonna think this is really hard until you realize even the very first enemy you walk up to in the game, he will kick your ass if you don't like basically memorize his attack pattern and learn where the window is to like swing your sword, you know, and like and then do that again, and then do that again, and then do that again, and then like we're gonna turn it up a notch and turn it up a notch, like turn the screw tighter again and again. It's a samurai fight, and that's what makes it seem like artificially hard, because really it's not hard. You just you haven't learned the tricks. It's hard to describe. It's very
no, we get it.
You have to be patient.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, boys. I gotta sign out early because I still gotta eat.
Sure.
But Happy New Year, both you guys and everybody, all the listeners out there. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one.
See you next one. Yeah. So that's
right,
it.
yeah.
That's the Dark Souls story.
Well, nice.
So yeah, beat that. Now I'm gonna try and play some other games.
Nice. Yeah.
But I like honestly just want to play it some more. Like honestly, it's that good that you want to go back and play New Game Plus. You're just like, man, I want to see if I can do it again. Is literally the emotion you have. It's the weirdest thing. Very famous for a reason. You know, that's all you can really say in the end. Like very famous for a reason. I'm trying out. Actually, no one's gonna hear this because we are 2 hours deep. But like, I'm trying out. I always forget his name. The director of Metal Gear, one of the most famous directors of all time.
Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, Kojima, like Death Stranding, Metal Gear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying out one of his very first games on PlayStation 2. Zone of the Enders is a game he made way back when, and I got it for Christmas from my wife because I'd read about it in a magazine. How people say it's not an amazingly great game. They're like, but it's really interesting, and that kind of thing always hooks me. It's like you can see a director's early like impulses, like kind of like of like what they're about, you know, or whatever, like kind of like where they're going to go. I think I have like just an interest in that kind of thing. So like I'm playing it, and it is certainly interesting. It's kind of a mech combat game. It's sort of like very anime influence, like mechs, like fighting in the sky. It's a little button mashy. I don't know if I'll stick with it too long, but Zone of the Enders, I've heard the second one is better. But I just got the first one because I figured why not, just curious, you know, or whatever. So like playing that on PlayStation 2 and lots of other indie games. We can talk about that next time.
Yeah.
So
nice. Yeah, I've heard good things about it, and they made an HD not remake, but they made an HD port of it some time ago.
Yeah, it's hard to say if it's good. My first reaction to it is like I'm not a PlayStation guy, as anyone listening knows. Like I'm not big obsessed with PlayStation games.
Yeah, you're more Sega.
I kind of yeah, you know this. Good loop back, Matt. Good one. Yeah, but I do have a personal like kind of idea in my head that I should spend some time in the next several years. Like now that PlayStation 2 is officially like verging on retro, like I like getting maybe the top 20 of all time games for it, you know, at some point, you know, kind of going through lists and like reading what I haven't played from it and like getting a hold of them. Cause it's like, it is one of the most successful systems of all time, if not the most. And I should be more literate in it. You know, it's like, I in the last year or two, I've been trying to pick up a game here or there for PS2 to like just play it, you know, and then I have an upscaler. So the games look pretty good. Like Zone of the Enders looks, for a PS2 game, looks pretty good in my opinion. You know, like it's the music is really good. It's got that Kojima like level of production. Oh, it's got that Kojima level of talking to you. Believe you me, it loves to talk to you. Like and have a lot of anime style cutscenes that go on way too long, especially when the first time you play, as I did, and your save card doesn't work because there's a glitch that you have to address specifically with your time clock on your PS2 too long for it. Just Google it. But you have to have your clock set correctly on your PS2 or otherwise the save file will crash. So I had to go through it all again with all the cutscenes and all the crap. You know, they were skippable in most parts, but there are a lot of them. They're like every 10 seconds, it's like a Metal Gear game talking to you. You know, you're just like, oh my God, like more talking. Like, let me just get in my mech and fight something, please. You know, but, you know, so yeah, that's it. We've been going a long time, haven't we?
Cool. Yeah.
We've lost 2 members.
Yeah.
Let's have a talk off and see who lasts. So when you have the recording equipment.
Yeah.
So
it'd always have to be me because I got to stop the recording. Unless you want to, edit it and edit your part in at the end of it. You're like, I say less. Gosh.
There you go. All right.
All right. So where I forget my end thing, so I'm just gonna waste time until I find it. Wherever it is, or you can find me at the Mango Viking on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and check out my narration, translation, whatever-ation video tomorrow on Source Gaming, and check out Mike's stuff as well. It's not coming out yet, of course, but I'll leave his link to his channel in the description and the comments. And Unoclay, where can people find you?
I have been using my Twitter. In 2020, I kicked off the year by turning Twitter on, and I've been saying words on it. So
nice.
Hit me up on Twitter. It's Unoclay_Switch. That's Unoclay_Switch. And my friend code is in there, and I occasionally get friend requests from that. So you can always look me up and send me a friend request if you want to play some Smash, because Matt's not gonna.
Ouch! You couldn't let me leave with a little bit of dignity. You just had to go for it.
Just hit me up. I need a player. I need a player too.
All right. Wherever you're listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle on pretty much every platform on the internet, except for Unoclay, because I'm cutting him out next week and forever. Here's up with the questions. Yeah. If you want to be a guest, message me at Mango Viking or Just Another Castle. We'll see you next time. Leave luck to the heavens and leave gaming to Nintendo.